'em up, lay it down just like Matt and Mari. Wrestling RHAPUp's gonna make it sorry. Feeling like The Rock cause I'm driving in Ferraris. And we coming every week and it's feeling like a party. Moolah Ric Flair, showing out like Bianca Belair, Best podcast, flush it in the air, Roman Reigns and we win it, don't care, No cap. Throw 'em up, lay it down just like Matt and Mari. Wrestling RHAPUp's gonna make it sorry. Feeling like The Rock cause I'm driving in Ferraris. And we coming every week and it's feeling like a party.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Wrestling RHAPUp podcast. I'm your host, Mari Forth, and with me today, my co-host, my stablemates, the Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish to my Adam Cole, Mr. Matt Scott and Grace Leeder.
Wait, which one of us is Kyle O'Reilly?
I'll be Bobby. It's okay. You can be Kyle. I'll be Bobby. I'll have a nice little twirly mustache. That's fine.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm honored. Honored
Fight
to be
for it,
cool,
fight for
Kyle.
Cool Kyle.
Honored. Yes. Look at that. Look at that.
We're
How's
back.
it going? We're back. Who knew? I thought we'd be canceled. I always think we'd be canceled.
Always.
Maybe I thought maybe you'd be bought up by another podcast, a larger podcast.
Oh,
I guess
there
you
it
are.
is.
I guess it would be worth it.
Larger podcast.
There's no
Yeah.
larger podcast network.
No.
Yeah.
Grace,
Yeah.
we are so happy to have you back again.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. Yeah. We're on the road to Wrestlemania. Still, I guess. The last time I
WrestleMania.
came. Last time I
It
came was
is
pre-Royal
so-
Rumble. So yeah.
It's the longest road imaginable.
It's very
apparently.
long. Yeah. Very windy. Yeah.
Like a Route 66, if you will.
Yeah.
Okay, boomer. The kids don't get that reference, Mari. Just
I mean,
letting you
it's-
know from
the kids don't
one
drive,
of the young
so
ones over
that's
here.
why.
Don't drive. They don't drive. What about all this van life? Like, isn't that a thing
Van
right
life?
now?
No,
Yeah,
they
true.
have their Priuses. Van life.
Ooh.
Van life, yes, that's like a thing. That's a whole segment of TikTok. I like one
Yeah.
girl on there.
I'm trying to
Yeah.
relate this back to wrestling, but
it's hard.
I think
we've
Van
played
Wagner. I
off
did
the
it.
cast.
I can imagine Mick Foley. Yeah, Van Wagner.
Rob Van Dam. See, I can go all day.
Rob Van Dam.
I'm done. Oh my gosh,
Okay.
guys.
you.
We're glad to be back. It's been a wrestling week, to say the least. A lot of build up to a lot of different pay-per-views, and of course the grandest stage of them all. But
You
we
can say
have
that like any week almost.
that
We're just
very
building up
much
to the
true.
pay-per-views. We should make, you know what? This reminds me, we should really try to make like a generic kind of evergreen episode where we're so vague that it could basically apply to any week.
I love when the good guy got one up on the bad guy,
Mhm.
but then I hated when the bad guy's friends came in and hit him with the steel chair. That was bad.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. And
Everything we've
AJ
seen this week in
Styles
wrestling, right
That's
there.
and
That's true.
Edge and yep, the things we love.
All
it.
of the things.
What a
So
great
we
episode that was.
we have to start off with the biggest announcement of the week.
Oh,
Tony Khan made the announcement on Dynamite this week that he acquired Ring of Honor Wrestling.
he did.
Grace, how did you feel about this announcement?
Tony, he was so happy to buy Ring of Honor. Just like this little wrestling nerd, in the ring being like, I bought Ring of Honor, everybody. I think it's interesting. I know Ring of Honor sort of late last year, maybe early this year, like released everybody from
Late.
their contracts
Mhm.
and like did a
Mhm.
full reset. They have announced a pay-per-view coming up, I think, sort of a rebrand. But I think the thing that is good is, boy, is AEW like filled to the brim with people. There's a lot of people on those shows, and so if he, I'm not interested in like Ring of Honor invades AEW. Like I'm not, he
Right.
name dropped Shane during his announcement.
Yeah.
No Shane
He needs
here.
to do that.
Keep going.
But if
Grace.
he sort of is just in it to have like a little development company, and they can sort of like send some of their talent there in more of like the way that they sort of were working with Impact before, where like Christian Cage went there and won the Impact Championship, and you can send guys there when they need maybe a little bit of a break from AEW. I'm excited by that. I think that is quite fun.
Yeah, I am too. I think this was a really good move for them. I just definitely didn't like the announcement. I'm just like,
Yeah.
Tony, this is supposed to be your moment. Like, don't reference WWE, because I mean, no matter what, those who get it. The moment I heard this, I immediately knew and flashed back to where I was the night I watched Vince say that he bought out WCW, and then Shane come out and be like, no, I bought out WCW. That is one of my most vivid childhood memories, and one of my favorite parts of wrestling ever in my entire life. So I did not need the reference. I didn't need the tongue-in-cheek reference, mostly because I feel like it just takes away the spotlight from AEW. Like, Shane was trending the rest of the night. Shane McMahon, who has not been on TV since the Royal Rumble, was trending because of what Tony Khan said, when Tony Khan and AEW should have been the ones trending in the spotlight. That's how I felt about it. Matt disagrees, it looks like.
No. Well, I mean, no, but not entirely. So just to like agree with you first of all, because there's a lot of great stuff about this announcement, I would say. But just to start, like, Tony Khan, I just need you to like put a comb through your hair, like, put on a tie. Like, it didn't seem like he put an effort into his appearance to show up and give this big announcement.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that's how I always feel with Tony Khan, where I'm like, I love like the casual look, but I want him to like show up ready for the historic announcement. That's what I would say.
No, he feels like this, like, he's not from Silicon Valley, but like the Silicon Valley his like dad is actually the billionaire, like he's just like the billionaire's case. So sort of like, I'm cool, very like, if anybody watches Succession, like very like, Kendall Roy-ish, I'm cool with the kids. And to be fair, I do feel like he is this like huge wrestling fan. That's part of her, like this, like he got like the biggest week in AEW history. It's like the CM Punk announcement was far bigger than this. Now I know that like you always have to be like, this is the biggest week. Not like 6 months ago or whatever. That wasn't the biggest. This is the biggest announcement. Like, it's not the biggest announcement ever. But it's only because like he's a super excited wrestling fan. That he's like, I bought Ring of Honor. That's pretty cool. Yeah,
that is cool, but it's like you have to, and I guess it's been my gripe with Tony Khan as the head of AEW. I don't want him to be like Vince McMahon, not at all. That's but I still also kind of need him to have some sort of feeling of like authority and like proper management. Does that make sense? Like, Matt is saying he needs to dress up and be in a suit. Yeah, exactly.
Because I have nothing.
Cute. This fan thing is cute.
Yeah.
But you also are a major representative of your company. So you cannot be on the Twitter and the social media with the trolls and with the IWC. It just it doesn't work like that. At least not to me. Because again, like we talked about with the Swole situation, like that should have never happened. That none of that should have happened. He should have never said any of that stuff. So it's kind of weird. It's like he tries so much to be like, yes, I'm hip, I'm cool, I'm one of you guys, that for me it just sometimes doesn't work. But
and I feel like to that point, like, obviously, you know what, like, and it has nothing to do with his hair, even what he's wearing. It's like the whole vibe that he gives off is not like the most like, it can make the moment bigger, if you decide, because we have seen him kind of come out in like the suit situation a little bit, and this is a historic moment. To Mari's point, before getting to like the positives, to Mari's point, like, you don't want to reference other things in a clip that should be like legendary for 20 years to come, let's say.
Exactly.
But I will say, it's always amazing when people have jobs. It's amazing that people will apparently be able to like sign with ROH and build their careers. And I think last week we were talking about was it Cesaro? Yes, Cesaro last week. And I think I even mentioned like it would be great to see him in an ROH. And so maybe we'll get that. And so I love that we have more opportunities for people, especially when AEW was getting to that wall of how could they hire more people when they already have a roster that they're not even like fully utilizing? And we're seeing some of those contracts lapse and end. And so maybe this is another opportunity and another spot for people to be featured. But I mean,
Yeah, now
we'll
people are
see.
wondering if Cody's gonna be on ROH now. Or something like that.
No.
I don't know.
I
I don't know.
Maybe
I
not.
just think
That'd be
I've seen some
weird.
stuff here.
It would be weird. Yeah.
Because it wouldn't be a
Yeah, do you
big
just
deal.
buy it to give Cody a little, like, you want to actually do all the stuff you want to do here? Take Ring of Honor.
Yeah.
Maybe
And
that's
then I
it.
was just trying to make sure, like when I was looking up, because I was trying to figure out, did he have the whole assets library? Because I do remember there was something to the effect where they were trying to figure out if the assets library was separate from the like the branding and the actual wrestling group itself. But it looks like he acquired all of the assets of Ring of Honor Wrestling Entertainment from Sinclair Broadcast Group. So yeah, it looks like he has the whole entire tape library, which is what is the biggest deal here. No matter what he does or doesn't do with ROH in ring, the biggest thing is to have access to that tape library, since it just has the beginning careers of basically every relevant wrestler right now. So
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
So it's a good move. Yeah, it's a very good move.
I love that ROH and that legacy will still be able to continue, and we'll see what they do with it. But like, I mean, maybe the best comparison I could give, I know we're going to talk about Tommaso Ciampa and his theme song, and I feel like WWE has a way with different characters and different ways of like throwing certain things out, whether it's their name in the case of Walter aka Gunther and all of that. Like they're good at throwing a brand out and starting anew, which kind of throws the legacy in the trash. And I like that Tony Khan and AEW are kind of keeping that alive. They'll benefit from whatever goodwill ROH has had, and that's smart.
Let's talk about it right now. Might as well, because you brought it up. Because honestly, I understand that. I understand how frustrating that is and all of that. But honestly, at this point, I'm just like, there's no need to complain about it, because it's not a creative decision. It's all about the money. Whenever somebody gets a change in a theme song or a change in their name, it does not have anything to do with creative. Guys, sorry, it's because they can't license the right to either the name. Walter cannot be licensed. Keith Lee, with the whole Bearcat, or the theme song, because CFOs left years ago, at least 2 years ago at this point, whenever they make that main jump to the main roster, which is a different type of, it's a different type of tax bracket. Like, yeah, we'll pay CFOs, or CFOs can be licensed for NXT, but the moment you go up to the main roster, they would have to rework a whole nother deal with it, and that they're no longer the in-house band. They will have to change the theme song, and it's annoying as all get out. It truly is. But at this point, it's like, why even like care about it at this point? Because unfortunately, it's gonna happen, and either you're gonna like the theme song or you're not. You hope that wrestler does better, but gone are the days, because of what happened with Triple H's NXT. This is what unfortunately is going to be what it's going to be like. There will be no more Keith Lee, Samoa Joes, Adam Cole's, like indie guys coming in and keeping their names, because people forget there was at one point when they weren't keeping their names, and then when that influx of the really good ones came in and they were actually letting them keep their names, everybody's like, oh my god, they're actually letting them keep their names now. And it's like, that's never going to happen again anymore. That Triple H way of doing it is gone, unfortunately. And now everything, if anybody comes to WWE, it's going to be a whole repackaging style deal, and it sucks. But at this point, I'm just so tired of complaining about it that I'm just like, we'll just see how the person does.
But here's like, I agree with you in the sense that like Ciampa put out a whole statement of like, I like the theme song, blah blah blah, so on and so forth, and kind of gave like a meaning around why he liked it, which I think is valid
really
and
nice.
important. I encourage people to check it out and heartfelt. But my big problem is horrible timing for when they decide to change these things. Like, you could do that when they're still in NXT, while they're still kind of building that brand, like gradual shift, as opposed to just like, oh, we're going to throw this person out and change what they are on the main roster. Like, that's That's the part I
completely
don't
agree with
love.
that.
I don't
These
think
are
it's
just
that
remnants,
wise.
though, right? Like this will not
Yeah.
like everybody who's debuting in NXT now will not. You won't come in and get your run as like Tommaso Ciampa. Like he would have been
Exactly.
renamed as soon as
Yeah.
he came in. He would have unless like whoever's making the music eventually goes away, and they have to like
Yeah.
do this whole thing
We'll do
again.
all
But
over again. Yeah.
this is sort of just like the Walter, getting to have his run in NXT UK, and then he comes to NXT, and they're like, well, no, we gotta have a new name. Like, I feel like kind of this is like the last of this era of all the indie guys who got to come in and keep their names.
Exactly,
so.
and that's exactly what I meant. And it just makes I agree with that. Like, why didn't you just bill him as Gunter from the beginning? But I think it's probably because they thought he might just stay over there. You know what I'm saying? Like, and just like with Ciampa, we always thought he was never going to go to the main roster. With someone, some of the things that were said was he would never go to the main roster, but now he is. But I completely agree. Like, why don't can we get like a backstory or something?
Yeah.
And then it kind of rings false too now when people put out their they put out their oh yeah, this was great. I love this. I like this because of this. And then once they get fired or something 6 months from now, then they're like, oh no, I hated it. And I just said that. And it's just like, you know what I'm saying? It's kind of like just lose situation.
Yeah.
And people forget that they did this with the Viking Raiders. Like a lot of people forget, but they were War Machine.
Oh,
they came up. You can't do War Machine, so they came over to NXT, and then they were the War Raiders on NXT for like God knows how long. Then they came up to the main roster, and they were the Viking Experience, and people were like, "Who the frick is this?" And then they went at least back to the Viking Raiders, and so they've been the Viking Raiders for the past like 2 years.
This is going to be my point, though. Like, I am with the people that like, oh gosh, they're naming him Gunter. Like, come on. Well, I don't think there's that much of Walter and Gunter really, but like, it's like we know him as Walter. Like, it's cool. It's cool. It's like I've seen Walter like live. Like it's like an experience, right? Like that's who he is. But I do also think, like, I remember, like, when people were mad, like, oh, man, they got rid of Antonio Cesaro's first name. Like, oh, he's just Cesaro.
Right.
Like, nobody,
exactly.
who cares? Like, a year later, we will not remember and we won't really care. Like, maybe some people will, but for the most part, it's like, we sort of just live with what we have. I honestly, like, I don't think I could, like, hum Ciampa's, like, theme song that he got changed. Like, the most memorable Ciampa theme song is when he didn't have music. Honestly, that's my favorite version of Ciampa.
Yes.
So, I think that like we'll forget about it in a year, and it's And
I still do like I say that as a person who really liked Ciampa's the heart attack theme like, a lot. And I do agree. It sucks conceding like that, but it's at this point it's like, I guess I'm trying to say don't have the argument be like, oh my god, WWE, why would they do this? Like, this is bad creative. It's not creative. You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense? I'm like, this has nothing to do with creative, y'all. It's pure corporate greed. Can we point out that?
And good for them. You know what? Keep that money, WWE, and hopefully put it toward things that we appreciate, But I don't know. Just timing could be better of it, but whatever. Enjoy it. I will also say, like, as a big pro wrestling theme song fan, we're not going to remember his previous theme. Like, in a year from now, no one's going to remember that.
I know, and it sucks because like I remember Bianca's first theme song. I really liked. It.
It was kind of similar to her her current theme song, actually.
Like, it was.
I can't remember.
Like, it was very of the time. Yeah, it was very like it stood out to me because it was very like pop hip hop girl at the time. Like, it felt different than the type of style of rap that they are doing. And then like when Watch Me Shine came, I was like, like I truly was like, I like the last one better, but now at this point it's like, oh, I love Watch Me Shine, so it's just one of those,
it's great. I love it.
It's amazing. But for some, I don't know why, when I thought that original theme really fit her. I don't know if I thought it really fit her or if it just felt different, and it felt like more deep rooted and connected to actual music at the time, like Black music at the time. That's what I remember thinking of it. Like, oh my gosh, this kind of feels like it felt like akin to like a Little Kim singing for Trish Stratus. Like the person who was, the person who did it was not famous, but it felt like a song, like an actual song I could listen to on the radio type thing.
Yeah, it was it was "We Do It Better" by Wordsmith and Mina Leone. Wouldn't have remembered that unless I just looked it up, but it was a good song.
It was
such a
about
good
it was like the very like sing
song.
rapping of the time. You know what I'm saying? Like
It's coming back in
very
too.
very like this is rap, but they're singing, and I really liked it. But you won't remember it. But I like somebody said in the Facebook Drop House Squadcast, this Royal Rumble truly showed me like something's up, because it was taking me incredibly too long to figure out who was coming out in most of those matches. And something needs to be said about that, because I think Matt, I think you did say, I think a few podcasts ago we were talking about once CFOs left, it just feels like I think so. I just
Probably.
like it was like the music does feel very generic. So I'm not sticking up saying that the music is good. I'm just saying, first off, it's not a creative decision, it's the money decision. And second off, it sucks because I don't even know if they have any in-house band. If they do, it's just maybe like people who can like actually just play instruments but can't put a song together. Like, I don't know. It feels like the songs have not been good lately.
I don't want to keep coming on here and be like, hey, have you heard of AEW? But like, gosh, you really think like Adam Cole's new themes, like the theme song he got in AEW is a banger. They like do this like they didn't really get the full rights to like Bryan Danielson's song, but they like at least added the Rise of the Valkyries at the beginning, and they've like remixed it. They've like paid money for like John Moxley to have Wild Thing. Like I think that they are when like somebody's entrance music hits, they had like this like battle royal where like it was like 20 teams. And I'm like, how do they have so many tag teams? First of all, they're like, whatever. But like almost every team that comes out, you're like, oh yeah, this is that before the like letters come up on the like Titantron, you know, on the big screen. You're like, oh yeah, it's them. Like it's I don't know. I think they're doing it well.
That.
For me with AEW, it's not the songs themselves, it's the sound system for me. I'm pretty sure I've said it on here. I swear I cannot hear.
You think they're using a boombox?
I often find that the announcers are really quiet on AEW. Like they'll be talking, I cannot hear.
It's something about the sound mixing. I think I've said it before. It's like I feel like I cannot hear it. Like I feel like it's almost like they're playing the music in the arena, but there's like they're trying to use the arena mics to pick it up, as opposed to for the broadcast maybe overlaying the song on the broadcast, like it's coming through. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
that's a good observation, but also such like a podcaster. Like, let me critique the audio.
All right, if this is a thing that I would have never noticed, and now I'm gonna notice.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I apologize.
This is like when somebody points out that like they cut the camera a lot on Raw, huh? And you're like, oh my god, I can't not see it now.
It's kind of for me because I'm like slightly like hard of hearing, just because of my job. So it's constant subtitles on in my house, and like everything blasted up to 11. So it's something I can really pinpoint with some certain sounds and stuff like that. But yes, I agree. The theme songs are really good there. I just, like I said, I just feel like I can never hear it. It feels like an echo or something.
We could probably talk about this forever, but I will say, like, the one thing that that bothers me about people's theme songs is when it changes how they walk out. Like Liv Morgan, for instance, new theme song, faster pace. She moves faster. I like when they're consistent. Like it throws me off when they change their thing. You know,
Liv's
their
new
little
theme
dance
song is
to the
really
brain.
good though. I like
it. Is though. I know.
Ciampa,
I don't.
Yeah, at least they gave him. Doesn't he? Isn't there something he shouts at the beginning of his? I feel like that's what they like to do. We're like generic rock song, but we will add your catchphrase at the beginning of the
something like that.
Something like that.
There is something. I don't think they published like the actual audio of it yet, so I don't think anyone's actually heard it clearly, which is the other.
That's another thing. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I think I do want to one day just break down the art of the theme song. It's like, what do you like about it? Do you like the sound effect, like the grass breaking sound effect? Do you like the "you think you know me"? Like, do you like the talking piece before, or are you just a whole like riff? Get the Seth Rollins riff, then stop.
We'll do it.
It's a
one
vibe.
Day we'll do a bracket. We'll do a bracket one day.
And it's got to fit the vibe of the
theme
wrestler,
song bracket. Ooh,
it is
wrestling theme song.
It is March. Why didn't we think of this
before
we came on here? We could have done it right here today. But let's move on. For a little bit more news before we get into the highlights.
Ooh, news.
So Vince McMahon was on Pat McAfee's show this week. I only saw a few clips of it. They hyped it up like so much just for it to be like a regular interview, really. Like it was nothing like it wasn't like Tony Khan's big announcement or nothing like that. But I know Grace, you had some opinions on this interview.
This interview, hey, I like my boss. Let me
I mean,
hype him up, you know. He pays me, so I will, you know. It was
name
not
on the check.
I mean, I should have known better than to get my hopes up. But like Vince McMahon is one of the most elusive men in history. Like to know actually what he's thinking about wrestling. Like I hope he has written a book. You know, I hope he has like he's written down his thoughts about like actually what he thinks throughout the history of his career, right? Because like he's like one of the most famous men, and yet we know things about him, but you know he's in control of the whole thing. He like refuses to give up control, and so it's just like, yeah, this interview means nothing. It was just like total softball questions, which is fine. I'm not expecting like Pat McAfee again. He's like an announcer on SmackDown. Like, yeah, are you gonna hardball your boss? I'm not hardballing my boss. I'm not doing an interview where I'm like asking my boss actually tough questions. So
you know,
I get it.
Yeah, but you have to like. I think that's the thing too, where it's really tough because it's not just hardballing your boss. Like that's one thing to be like, look, we're doing this interview. Like even giving a heads up of questions and being like, is it cool if I ask for about this thing, or like, because you want to make it feel as like real as possible. You want it to add as much. You want people to be like, oh, that was a good interview. But this is Vince freaking McMahon, so you can't do that. He doesn't like when people sneeze. You can't sneeze in front of him. Could you imagine having a cold and then you're interviewing him and you're like, ooh, my nose.
Vince is going to be on Pod Friends, right?
Oh,
I'll
him?
Right. No spoilers.
Vince McMahon. No, it's so funny because
the connection. Let me know.
Grace is right. Like Vince is like the CIA and Beyonce. Like you don't hear anything about it, and that's how you control the narrative. It's like if you say nothing, if you give people access to nothing, they just assume you have the most power and control. And you know, it truly is like. It's the elusive chanteuse of it all, and the interview itself, it's whatever. It's cool. Like some people said, it actually made Vince like seem a little bit human, which I don't know. Again, in Vince's eyes, is that a good or a bad thing?
Yeah,
you know exactly. But it basically just set up that Pat was going to get a WrestleMania match, which is interesting.
But they could have done, you know, they did. I thought like when Adam Cole was on the show, right, and they set up the Adam Cole Pat McAfee thing. I kind of thought that cool. What was coming was Pat could sort of like, you know, be poking Vince for Vince to be like, you know, like lose it on him a bit to set up like the rumored match was like Vince versus Pat, which I always assume was like Vince not actually going to wrestle like Austin Theory. It's like no DQ. Yeah, you're basically going to wrestle Austin Theory, and then Vince can come in and try to like get the pin and whatever. Like I thought they could have done at least, you know, I would have been happier, I think, if it was like like they just kayfabed us, you know, like it was actually like setting up some story, you know. But no, just an interview.
Yeah,
I would love to have Vince on the podcast. On this podcast. I mean, we'll see. We'll work on it.
I really like Pat McAfee's show, period. Like I think I love his energy as like an interviewer and stuff like that. So I wasn't expecting anything less. I think if the takeaway for me was this was just like any other interview he's done. You know what I'm saying? Because I think he softballs basically all of his guests, if anything. So I was like, okay, cool. And then they set up on SmackDown that Pat will be facing Austin Theory, which I don't care about Austin Theory, but I want Pat McAfee to beat the crap out of him. That's for sure.
Well, I mean, I will say too, like, I don't know. I really like. I actually going back a year, and I don't know if we're talking about Austin Theory more later. Actually, I don't think we're talking about him more later,
not. So
which is probably a good thing. But anyway, like the thing I appreciate is like when he was with The Way with Johnny Gargano, there were a lot of fun moments in terms of his performance of whatever that was, like goofy. I believe somebody on the podcast probably used the phrase, it wasn't me, but someone might have said himbo. Like I did not.
Right.
I did not, but anyway, like I
Mm.
like that he has like a personality as a muscle person / I don't even know what his vibe is, but like if you're gonna, I like what they're doing with this character. It fits him. I'm glad it's not like a serious, let's actually try to get him over in the main event spot. So I don't know. This is a weird match to like involve Vince in because it's obviously not a main event, but like it's a storyline, and
Theory's
we're not
young.
getting a ton of those.
He's 24 years old. Like he's really young. Like
He's a
you know,
third of Vince's age.
wow, that's wild. Yeah, I mean Vince, they do this every once in a while, where like Vince like put places
Slaps
his
a sticker on somebody.
Yeah, they did
Yeah.
this with McIntyre, and I feel like
Mhm.
you know that did not pan out. It took McIntyre leaving and coming back to like be like, oh, Vince was totally right.
Yeah.
But I mean, theory, he kind of looks the part of like a guy Vince would like. So I you know, I get it. I see this. Yeah.
No, he does. I know it's probably like there's so many stories and funny things you hear, but it's probably like, oh man, I love his quads, you know, like that might have been the root of it.
Yeah.
The whole entire root of Austin.
Those are the questions that I would ask if I was interviewing him. I'd be like, look, what is it? What is it about Austin Theory that you like? And he'd just probably break down like that. So whatever.
Austin
Missed
Theory
opportunity.
does absolutely nothing for me, but good for him.
No, I know. And I think it's funny that he's like in the center of this storyline, so we have to talk about him. One day,
All right,
you'll be a convert. You'll be in a Theory. Damn, I don't know. He doesn't have a fan name yet. Whatever.
You'll buy into the theory. Yeah.
Theory.
Oh,
You'll
God.
buy into.
Oh,
Well,
Jesus,
this is
stop
Grace. That's it.
All right, that's it for the news. So if you have any questions, you can always send any long form questions to wrestling@robhasawebsite.com. You can also follow us on Twitter at WrestlingRHAPUp and join the conversation using hashtag WrestlingRHAPUp on there. And of course, we have our unofficial official Facebook group, Job Has a Squadcast, where all of the RHAP wrestling folks congregate. So if you want to if you want access to that, just let us know. We also have a podcast feed. Hopefully you are already subscribed. Go to robhasawebsite.com/wrestling feed to subscribe to us on all of your podcasting platforms, or hopefully you're looking at our beautiful faces right now here on the YouTube. Rob Has a Podcast YouTube. Just go to Rob Has a Podcast YouTube and search Wrestling RHAPUp, and we're there. Also, because this is the longest plugs of the day. It is a great time to join the RHAP Patreon. It is the beginning of the month, so go to www.patreon.com/RHAP to become a patron of RHAP, where you can get exclusive access to patron-only podcasts, 5 for 5s, events. Hopefully you already got your tickets to the next Know It All Live. If not, become a patron and get your chance at them. But we'll take a quick break and come back with the highlights of the week. Okay, so this week WWE finally started building their mid-card matches for WrestleMania. They're like, oh boy, wait, we have a whole card we have to fill. Maybe we should get on that. So I think
like, well, we got Brock versus Roman. Like, no,
right.
we need like 15 other matches. Like,
oh no, right? Exactly. That's exactly how I felt like. It was like, yeah, job's done. Oh no, we still got to keep. Oh, okay, keep going. Oh, so the biggest thing coming out of Raw really is like Edge's heel turn.
Yeah.
Right?
This was
Do
interesting.
you think you know him?
We were talking about it last week, but Edge issued an open challenge. I didn't know who he was talking to. Matt knew exactly who he was talking to. But it was AJ Styles. So we're getting AJ Styles versus Edge right before Edge decides to just go, the ultimate opportunist route, kick AJ in the nether regions. We saw a concerto. Yeah. Talking about he said he doesn't want the tag team AJ. He wants the Bulldog AJ. Matt, what did you think about this segment?
I felt like a little uncomfortable, probably like most of the crowd, because you're here, you're chanting for Edge, and then
Mm-hmm.
things just turn, and you're like, you're going a little bit too far with this, bro. Like, actually, literally, my thought was like, you good, bro? Like, are you is everything on track here? Like, I feel like they've been turning people a lot, like semi-turn. So the Seth Rollins
Mm-hmm.
thing was also on my mind here, where I'm like, is he a face right now, or a heel, or a face?
Right.
Like, they're on the fence there. Similarly, I wasn't expecting this with Edge. And then I also can't imagine them keeping him heel for that long, just with like where he is in the company. And so we'll see. But yeah, this went on a long time. Like, and I think
It
it's
did.
probably great. It sets up a great match, but it did feel kind of like it was coming from out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. I would agree with that. I think, I mean, heel Edge is the best Edge, I think, in my
Mhm.
opinion. I was not
I
expecting,
agree.
this like
Yeah.
late run Edge to get a heel turn. It's so I think like he's the guy who came back from like neck surgery. Like that feels like a long shot. But WWE has kind of never, I feel like the post John Cena era of like, we're never turning him heel. Don't ask, stop asking, stop booing him, just cheer him. It's fine.
Yeah.
They've turned a lot of people who I never thought would be like a heel into bad guys. Like Sami Zayn is someone who, like, when he showed up in
Mhm.
NXT, I was like, he's never gonna be a bad guy. Bailey, this is never gonna be a bad guy. Like, they are
Oh,
like
man.
perma baby faces for life. And I kind of felt like this like late run that Edge is having was going to be the same thing. And then they kind of like shocked me. And I feel like, I wonder how much this is Edge and AJ Styles knowing they're going to get a match at WrestleMania and kind of deciding that this is going to be the most fun dynamic to have a match, is like to have AJ as like the flash, he's not a young guy, but like to be the flashy baby face underdog in the story against this like grizzled, angry, mean Edge.
Mhm.
Might be the match that like Edge wants to put together for WrestleMania. That's more fun than AJ playing heel. And so yeah, they've turned Edge into the bad guy here, which it's surprising, but I'm not mad at it. Like I think it's kind of fun.
Right.
So
I agree. Like, a lot of the stuff this week was kind of like, it felt ramshackled because like we have what, 4 weeks or something to
Mhm.
WrestleMania, less than 5 weeks, and it's just like, oh, y'all just throwing stuff at the wall, huh? But this out of all some of the stuff that we saw, I thought was done really well, and it kind of made sense in a sense, like Edge has been out here giving snarling promos for the past 2 weeks, so he's just basically saying like, I want somebody. So it's kind of like, okay, cool, sure, whatever. And I agree. I think having AJ flip and fly around like the baby face that he is when he does that stuff is the best course of action for these two. So I'm excited of all of like the just random thrown together matches. I think this is a really good, possible show stealing match, even though I think the women are going to steal the show.
it's a dream
mostly.
match, right? Like,
Sure.
who
It
thought
is,
we'd ever get
exactly
Edge
that.
versus AJ Styles?
Exactly.
Exactly.
And I
Exactly.
can't remember exactly who, but I mean, I'm sure multiple people have tweeted. I don't even want to try to give credit to this one, but someone even posted like Edge versus AJ Styles. Just think about that. And like, to your point, that's a dream match. It's a huge one. And I think that if we're gonna look to two people to execute on a feud so well, like, these are two people who will absolutely do it. The thing I also don't mind here when it comes to Edge just losing it is that he's always had those undertones as a character, even as a face. In the last couple of years, we've seen him kind of like go off at certain points. And he kind of had, I don't know, Mari, I think you mentioned like the snarling promo, but Edge kind of
Yeah.
has like a little bit of like a, I don't know if it's like a bulldog or what, or a pit bull, but he has a little bit of like an animalistic thing within him, or like maybe it's the vampire of it all within him.
the
But
vampire.
it's not surprising that he loses it once in a while, and I like that for him.
For it. Yeah, exactly. So,
But
like
I
I
was
said,
hoping he
of
was going to be.
everything we've seen, I thought this was really good.
I will
You
say
said you were
I
hoping
was
it was what?
hoping. Look, in my fantasy booking world, I would have loved to see Edge versus Beth Phoenix. That would have been a good match for Mania. See them go head to head.
Yeah.
I don't know about
Keep it
that.
in the
year.
family.
Next
Keep
year.
it in
Yeah.
Mhm.
Keep it in the
But I
house.
also think, does anybody think it's kind of weird that that they might, or I don't know if it's weird or scary, one of the two, but it feels like I mean, we know Brock does not work every night. I mean, duh. But it definitely feels like they are preparing Raw to kind of be championless. Was I the only one that kind of got this feeling from this episode?
I feel like you've been thinking about that for a while with
I
the
mean,
unification
the
stuff.
moment they
but
said unification, I'm just like, I'm having like just traumatic flashbacks.
But yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, where's the where's the championship here? You know? We
Yeah, I
want
can
that.
see that. I think it feels like at the moment they're more likely to try and appease Fox than they are USA. But
Mhm.
I definitely see the champion floating between the two. But no matter who wins, it doesn't feel like Brock's
I
making
hate
many
it.
appearances to Raw,
I hate it
and kind of
even.
neither is Roman maybe. So I don't know.
You know
And
what?
so, and I'm
I
assuming people think Brock is going to win. So the
but
the worstest case is if Brock wins and then disappears with both championships.
Yeah.
I'm getting upset.
disappears. Oh no, Mari, no, come back, Mari, no.
What were
I
you
don't
about
know
to
I
if
say,
think
Brock
Matt?
win. I don't know. They certainly have loved having him win recently.
what if
I
I
don't
don't
know.
know
I
what's
don't
gonna
know.
happen,
I don't
but
know.
I will say, I mean, they wouldn't be championless. It would just be different than what they've done because they would still have the women's champion. I wonder if they could
Mm.
build that up enough where that champion, whoever it is after WrestleMania, is the main event, is the star, and then maybe we won't miss the fact that there's not the male champion there. Which I mean
That's
sucks for the
actually
men's division, but I'm not really mad at that if they book that the right way.
That's actually a great point, and we might as well kind of just segue into that because
Hmm.
the Raw women's division really did get a chance to shine this week because Becky and Bianca are set. They're set in stone. However, we did get this match where it's Bianca, Rhea Ripley, Liv Morgan versus Becky Lynch, Doudrop, and Nikki ASH, and this is the same 6 people that we've been seeing consistently on the show because honestly that Raw women's division is really good. The problem is we keep seeing them kind of go up of different iterations of each other, but this match was really good, and it makes me, when Matt said that, it made me think like this women's division, especially since I swear we never see the SmackDown one, this women's division could carry a show. And no, I can't wait. I truly cannot wait till after WrestleMania is over to see what the next direction is for all of them. And I think that that's a good point. If we don't have the male champion, grace of God, let's hope that they then push the women. But you
Yeah.
know, maybe they won't. Maybe it's just more Seth and KO at the
I'm
top.
not getting my hopes up because this is WWE,
Right.
but that would be great. It'd be fun.
Right.
Yeah.
It would be
Yeah.
really cool. So that was such a good match too. It was just like and they've been referencing it all week, but Becky started out by she kept messing with Bianca's hair, so finally Bianca whipped her so many times on her midsection with the braid, and it left so many scars on Becky. She was still talking about it yesterday, and it's just a great way to build towards their match too.
I thought we were gonna
so
see just her.
Oh well,
that's it's
coming
on
up.
Instagram. Yeah, but it was really funny, and I love how so Becky was complaining about the scars, then Bianca wore her "Don't Touch My Hair" shirt, and
That's
then
great.
Becky under that put on like a white shirt that I swear it looked like she just took marker to it and said "ban the braid" or something like that, which was funny, but also people are like, "Hey Becky, you're getting close." Like, you're getting a little close.
Yeah.
Ban the braid. No, I
Yeah,
saw a lot of people tweeting that even before she like on Monday night, there were people who were like, they should make Bianca cut her hair. Like,
no, like
hair versus hair match.
Yeah.
Oh my
Those
God,
scars
no.
though. Could we talk about the scars for a second?
Wow.
I always joke about how
Because-
like whenever like we're watching wrestling and it's like I want it to look real, but I don't want it to actually be real. Like
Exactly.
that looks like it hurts a lot. Don't do that. It hurts.
Zooming in on like I was trying to figure out like
Jeez.
how real these scars are.
They look worse. They look worse on Becky
Yeah.
posted a picture of Rue, her, and Seth on Friday, and it looked even worse than it did the night it actually happened. I was like, wow.
Well,
Yeah.
Um,
I don't
but-
know. I hope that she's okay. Those are not cute scars. But also, I mean, Becky did not get hit that much in her midsection, so there's some shenanigans here, is all
What do
I'm
you
saying.
mean? What do I don't understand.
So there's like one scar that's right on her rib cage almost, and like kind of it was almost under the like it's almost like under her gear, and then she sort of was like pulling it up as she was selling a little bit, and so I think that scar might have been there already. I don't know how,
Interesting.
but to me, I was like, how does she have those scars already? I don't know.
I don't know, and I don't want to
Conspiracy.
volunteer to see how you make those scars if it's continuing. I'm not volunteering for that.
I know
they happen
I'm
quick.
gonna
You
pull
just seen like when they chop each other or hit them with like kendo sticks. Like those scars happen fast. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, and again, more Becky, and by the way, she's tweeted these pictures out, post them on Instagram, so you could check them out. I think I need to zoom in on the scars for the actor.
She got her good. That one good time there.
Yeah, we're really gosh.
If you're
those
watching
still
us
look
on
gross.
YouTube, we're showing.
You really need to.
Yeah.
We're like
Becky
staring
Lynch's
at her mid.
scars. All right, this might be
we're
bordering
gonna
on
move on.
inappropriate now.
Like content warning,
Right?
flagged, removed from YouTube.
Yeah.
Exactly. So speaking of which, let's get into the curious case of KO and Seth Rollins. Like I only say that because we opened with like the Kevin Owens show, right? And then of course he had like Seth on it, and they're talking about they're coming for the tag team belts. And this was great because I love Kevin Owens. Seth is just so over the freaking top right now. The both of them are over the top to the point where I'm like, I can't trust this pairing. Like Kevin Owens has turned on way too many of his best friends for me to trust anything that's happening right now. So I'm always kind of tense in my seat. Like, what is happening? But they basically told Alpha Academy they're coming for their belts, which is just kind of weird because Alpha Academy is kind of still in that feud with RK Bro. So I'm just like, is this leading to a multi-man? Like, what's gonna happen here?
You know, I was wondering. I wonder if they do. They put one of the matches on night one, and then the winners fight one of the other teams on night two.
Wow.
Could flesh out the card a bit.
See,
so, like, yeah,
that would make sense. And didn't they do that with the women's? They did that with the women's match last year.
Yeah, because we
Women's
were pissed
tag.
off. Yeah, after the first night. And
Well, that was also
was that the
weird
battle
one.
royal? No, what was that last year?
No, they
Battle
had like a 4-way women's tag match or something like that. All I remember from that is that it rained, so like Mandy Rose was actually a
tag
few
team
of them
turmoil.
were slipping all over
Natalia
the
and
place.
Tamina won,
Natalia
and
and
then they
Tamina won.
lost to Nia Jax and Shayna the next night.
Exactly.
Yeah.
When we thought that it would have been like the
other
storyline
team.
going into it was like, who was it, like Lana or somebody else would have made
Lana
more
and
sense.
And Naomi, wasn't it?
Naomi, yes.
Mhm.
Oh my god.
I'm sure we'd said
So annoyed. Yeah, but they could do that. That's a great point. Maybe a tag team triple threat because the Street Profits went up against RK Bro later on that night, I believe. So maybe a triple threat tag team match, and then winners face Alpha Academy that next night or something
triple
like that.
threat, maybe, or maybe
Profits, RK Bro.
Feels like the biggest match
RKO.
is Rollins and Owens versus RK Bro.
That's what I thought.
So do you have like
you
know, like the Street or the Gable Academy like lose to one of those teams, the Street Profits lose to one of those teams on night one, then those two teams face off on night two or something? I don't know.
I don't know, but the Street Profits beat RK Bro on Raw this week. So
Right. So do you
Oh,
do like
that's
a
very
2 tag team
confusing.
matches on night 1? It's like kind of like a mini tournament, right?
Oh, mini tournament. Okay.
With the finals being Rollins and Owens versus RK Bro on night 2.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Well, I mean, there's the whole thing too. I don't know where we are in terms of the rumors of Stone Cold Steve Austin
Oh,
being on the
right. I
card,
keep
but
forgetting
there's the
about that.
whole thing about Kevin Owens and Stone Cold. This segment was also a little like kind of confusing because
Mhm.
Rollins was a face here, I think. At least people were cheering him like he was a face.
Is he?
And then KO was getting or I don't know. It like there I'm not sure who is what
A
anymore
line
right
is
now.
what? Yeah, especially with those two.
But I
You
feel
just
like
never
there was
know.
like I don't know. I can't keep up right now
I
with
kind of
what
feel
they're
like
trying to do.
Rollins they're sort of like doing the thing where like he's the bad guy, but people like him. So just let that
Yeah.
Just
lean
let
into
it
it.
naturally. Yeah,
Maybe that's
Mhm.
it.
I agree.
Yeah.
Or and actually the thought that crossed my mind even watching Raw was that maybe we're leading to a breakup because the KO really hates Texas and he just I mean, and who could blame him, but also he's just going in that direction and Seth is not going all the way there, and so maybe I don't know, maybe KO's on the verge of insanity and won't
Mhm.
Seth's gonna kind of peace out,
But
and
if we
that'll
don't,
lead to the Steve Austin thing. I don't know.
but that's the thing. If Seth pieces out here, where does that leave Seth? Because they also
Yeah.
announced that the Andre
Who
the
knows?
Giant battle royal is not happening this season. This WrestleMania, but the women's are, and that's what I meant to mention on the women's segment as well. Like the women are, I think the main reason why the women are still having their battle royal is because of the Raw women's division. I think one of them will probably win it, but yeah. So where does that leave Seth though? You know what I'm saying? Like if Seth and KO are not together going for the tag belts at WrestleMania, then what happens with Seth? Seth's not missing WrestleMania. If they put Drew
No.
and freaking Happy Corbin on the card, Seth has to find a place too. You know,
He could walk Becky down to the ring.
stop.
Oh,
it.
Veer is coming.
Still,
Maybe Veer versus Seth Rollins.
Is he the
No,
one?
I'm just kidding.
God.
Maybe do they slot Seth into this Priest Balor feud? Does it become like a triple threat for the US
Maybe.
title? I just don't see anybody else who's not locked up in something if KO is going to fight Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Stone Cold
There's
Steve
really
Austin.
no
I mean,
almost is like probably the only name who's like not doing something who
sure.
might have a match. That's it, really.
But Stone Cold, the whole thing too. I can't believe that Stone Cold Steve Austin would have a match at Mania. Like we've seen him get his little
With no
segment
build like this, yeah.
with
Yeah, his
no
whole thing has
build.
always said he would only come back if like the story was good.
It's right,
So,
yeah.
well, yeah, and like you have
I mean-
to assume he's been offered more money than Saudi Arabia, they have a lot of money. I think it feels like
Yeah.
they could have offered him more money already by now.
So is the Madison Square Garden show is tonight, right? Or it's on
this
Saturday,
weekend,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, this weekend.
Yeah. I mean, by the time that this show goes up, it'll probably have happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are they airing that anywhere? Or is that just like because sometimes they no, I don't know.
I think
No,
they would
I
have
don't
been
think
like
so.
they've done some of those like it's a network special, but they haven't done one in a very long time.
In a
So
very long time, right? And if they do, it is normally MSG. But
tonight this is where Brock has to defend at MSG. So
yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I mean, it'll be on
do we
on their
know who
social
he's
media, I'm
defending
sure.
against?
Who he's defending against? Yeah.
Who is it? Bobby
know.
Lashley?
Yeah. Let's
Are
go
you?
with that.
I thought Bobby
No,
was
I
injured.
mean,
looking
they
it up.
announced it.
He is fighting Bobby Lashley. So,
They
Okay, so he
announced
is.
it. I just feel like they kind of mentioned it in passing. But yeah,
So-
Bobby Lashley.
Bobby Lashley
Jesus.
is
They
the
did.
other name that I thought he was out for WrestleMania, but Bobby Lashley is the other name who is not tied up in anything, who could do something.
I don't know.
Man,
Seth versus Bobby.
Yeah. So-
Yeah, you know what? I wish we had more right now to get excited about for Mania.
Mhm. Exactly.
what is even happening on that
This
show.
is why
They do have some solid stuff like that's confirmed, but maybe I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like there are years where the story is so exciting, then WrestleMania happens, and it's like kind of like a like it's very rare that like there's two where like the story and the matches that they're like putting together, you're like, I'm so freaking excited for this, and it also lives up to your expectations. I feel like rare
Sasha
that
Bianca
that's
last year. That
for
was
me, like
literally it.
that's Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania 30, like
Of
that, like
course,
that's
yeah.
like there's like the moments where it happens, but I feel like there have been these WrestleManias where you're like, I'm not really excited about this, and then you watch the show and like that was really really good. I feel like
Yeah, that's
the
true.
one where Rollins cashes in felt like that. Was that
Oh my
WrestleMania play
gosh.
button where it was like,
That
I'm not
was
excited
so
about any of
good.
this, and then the show was
Yeah.
like unbelievable.
The show was
So
phenomenal. That was
yeah.
probably my favorite modern WrestleMania, to be quite honest. Like within the last, like from top to bottom, I would definitely say that was my favorite show.
Yeah,
I'm thinking it. I think so. Top to bottom, like actually every match. I think so.
No, I'm always so bad at remembering which WrestleMania is which, and don't ask me what number WrestleMania
that
we're
was
on
the year
now
after.
because I don't know.
That was after New Orleans. It's only a year after.
It was,
show.
yeah.
But that
Exactly.
has you have
Yeah,
Triple H
that
and
was a good
Sting. You
show.
have Cena and Rusev coming out in the big tank.
Yeah.
Oh my
Undertaker and
gosh.
Bray Wyatt. Yeah. good
Mhm,
It
show.
felt
Undertaker,
big.
Bray Wyatt. Yeah, and this was Ronda and Rock got their moment too.
Yep.
And then Seth losing
Little did we know.
to Randy Orton in the beginning, and then coming back out to Cash. I mean, I think, and that was to be quite honest, that was the first WrestleMania we had watched when like coming back into it. Like that was when I came back into it, and I was like, oh my gosh, and that's what made me like stay with it like ever since. But like everything else, it's picking and choosing. I think WrestleMania 35 was pretty good as well, like with the Kofi win. Like that was another time where the storyline and the payout was just perfect. Kofi and Daniel Bryan.
Yeah.
And Seth beating Brock in the opener and all that.
Yep.
But the women, the women's match didn't do it for me. But I actually like that WrestleMania. And it's really hard for me the last like 6 WrestleManias, since Sasha's like she's defeated at WrestleMania. She's never won at WrestleMania. So whenever the Sasha match happens and she loses, it kind of just takes the wind out of the sail for me for the
That's
rest
one
of
of
the
my
night.
favorite things though about like I like the streaks and the pat. I remember last year we were talking about this, and you were I think you were convinced that Sasha was winning at Mania, and
No, I was
like,
not. What are you talking
yeah.
about?
I don't know what it we talked about.
Stop
No,
it.
we talked about this though, where I was like, no, it wasn't that. I didn't want Sasha to win because
You
I
didn't want her
like
to
the fact
win
that she has a
because of the
losing
streak.
streak,
Right.
and maybe like I mean, and maybe
I
it'd be
was
nice if that
torn
continues
because I
this
was
year.
like, Bianca deserves to win and Bianca should win, but it would suck because Sasha will be continually to be undefeated. But that story, then just it's kind of like this too. Like if Bianca loses to Becky at WrestleMania, I don't know what I'm going to do with myself. I'm going to be very distraught because
it could happen. We know that.
Exactly. I know it can happen. That's why I'm mentally preparing.
That's why we're taking a month off after Mania.
Exactly.
That's right.
Yeah. How did we get on this subject, Lord? Oh, we were talking about.
By the way, just
basically the tag team titles.
Yeah, the tag team title that nobody cares about. Yeah. But so we had the Kevin Owens show, and then we had Seth Rollins and Kevin Owens versus Alpha Academy later on in the night. Again, all of the highlights that we're talking about can be found in a handy dandy playlist, either in the show notes or in the podcast description. I forgot to say that earlier, so now I'm saying it again. But we have to go into WWE remembering that they had mid-card champions as well. They're like, oh wait, we have additional belts. So Finn,
Balor.
I know. So we had Finn versus Damian Priest. Damian Priest has been the United States champion. Like how long he's been the United States champion? It has to be. How long has it been?
He won it in August. He won it at SummerSlam.
That's what I thought. I was like, it has to be at least 6 months at this point. They have not done a smidgen of anything with Priest in that whole entire time, which is so unfortunate because
they really haven't.
because truly the WWE and people constantly talk about like trying to find the next Rey Mysterio when Rey Mysterio's right here, or the next Eddie Guerrero, and like Damian Priest being like, you know, Puerto Rican and being like just the perfect specimen of a wrestler, being very charismatic, you know, being Vince's type, and then they get nothing for him, and it's just very annoying. I do like that they have, I mean, we have to acknowledge that over the past few months, he's been having kind of like this slow build turn, which is great. But if it's not consistent, then, you know, who truly cares? But going into this Finn match, I thought this was going to be a great matchup, but taking the belt off of Priest so soon after basically he said, I've been basically going up against nothing but chumps. Now I want a WrestleMania caliber opponent. He's basically saying he's never had a WrestleMania caliber opponent. He then gets a WrestleMania caliber opponent and loses immediately. So to me, that tells me that he's not a good wrestler. Psychologically, you're trying to tell me that Damian Priest isn't good. You know what I'm saying? Like, do they think these things all the way through? And I only say that because I feel like he should have defended against Finn and cheated. Like he should have just completed just do the whole thing. But no, they waited for him to attack afterwards. It's just like, where is the logic? Am I off base here, Matt?
No.
Long pause.
No, I have to consider it because you bring up a good point there. I would also say it. I mean, anytime you're a month away from WrestleMania and then change the champion, like I don't think it's great.
Good. Yeah,
not great. That's great.
Bad creative.
But not the best. But I will say, I wonder. I kind of wonder if they wanted Bad Bunny somewhere around this match and around WrestleMania. I mean, actually, let me rephrase that. I'm sure that they would have wanted Bad Bunny if Bad Bunny was available for this. I mean, it could have been interesting even to get a Bad Bunny Damian Priest thing. We just saw Bad Bunny at the Rumble. Doesn't seem like he's gonna be back for Mania. Maybe he's busy touring or something like that. But that to me would have been like a compelling story here. Finn, he's great, but like this is so random. And he's also been like, he's taken time off, he's been on, you know, we've gotten both, and so there's just not momentum around either of these people, unfortunately.
I agree, but they did. Derek and Job has Squadcast said like when Finn came out on Raw when he was there like last week that the place like lost its lid and stuff like that. So
I love Finn Balor much. So like
Finn
I was
Balor,
excited to hear that
totally.
He won. Yeah.
And I'm not even mad that he won, right? Like I think it's a nice reset.
Why didn't he win at WrestleMania?
Well, but yeah, that's a good point. And I think it's kind of confusing because you're like, it clearly seems like this is just going to lead to him defending at Mania and then keeping the championship. And then what does that lead to?
What does that do? Like, why
long-term
didn't we
storytelling?
Why didn't we get Damian Priest realizing that Finn is getting the upper hand and then cheating and disqualifying himself? Like it's like right there. And then build for this at WrestleMania, have Finn win at WrestleMania. Like I think it pisses me off when babyfaces win a month before WrestleMania. Like, what are we doing here? It's almost akin to when Bayley beat Charlotte for the title that one WrestleMania. The random, was it like a random Raw? I don't even think it was that Fastlane pay-per-view. It was just a random. No, it was no. Sorry, it was the Fastlane pay-per-view that she won it because at that point they were touting Becky. They're touting Charlotte has never been pinned on a pay-per-view, so they let her pin her on that Fastlane because I guess they didn't want her pinned on WrestleMania, something to that effect. But I just think I don't know. I don't understand this here, but the two of them work really well together. I'm sorry, Grace.
I mean, I don't even know if I want Damian Priest to cheat to win because he's humongous dude. He's so big.
Mm.
And like,
Yeah.
you know, I think he is up there for maybe one of the worst pre-WWE names of all time, which was Punishment Martinez. But
Okay,
you know,
no.
what?
I will not have that disrespect. Punishment Martinez is a great name. And
Sure.
back to us ranting about name changes.
Yeah. But like, you know, he's a big dude, cool dude. I feel like the attack on Balor after the match does work. I think what you could have done instead of having him lose because he cheats is just have him like beat the crap out of Finn so he doesn't have to fight, you know, he doesn't have to fight him, you know, like
that would've been great.
show him that he's just like this, like, you know, win at all costs, but like not actually have to even win. He doesn't even have to fight him, you know.
That would have been good.
Is like where maybe I would
many
go
options.
so that he's not. I don't really see him as like a Weasley cheating.
No.
I guess there's different ways to cheat in the match and win, but so maybe I'm saying the exact same thing. Again, I'm like happy that Finn won because I'm like a Finn fan, but like a Finn fan.
Finn fan.
But yeah, I think this doesn't do a lot to me for Damian Priest, at least the way it happens. I like the moment that he snaps. I think a heel turn for Damian Priest could be really fun. I was surprised when he came up and he was the babyface. So yeah.
So it makes you think. I'm sorry, Matt. It's like, so are we going to continue with this Damian Priest and Finn Balor, or did they do this as a cheap way to move the belt onto Finn Balor, and then maybe even Finn Balor moves on to somebody big, like a bigger name at WrestleMania? I feel like I don't know which is worse. Like I truly.
This felt like this is setting up the rematch, but yeah.
Okay, but the rematch at WrestleMania?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I hope.
Well,
so.
yes,
That's what I
so.
assume. Right.
Yeah.
Me too. And I think, you know, the only thing that I just want to mention about this segment is that it's strange to me that they were, you know, kind of like standing around for so long after the match, after the win. Because normally it's like, I won my championship, I'm going. That was the thing.
Like a
when
commercial
do we
break or
ever
something?
see anyone? We never see them hanging out after they win the championship. Like, okay, now I'm gonna talk with the person who lost and you know, raise their hand. You know, sometimes we see that, but passing the torch moment. But that was odd. Like the moment that I saw them in the ring after, like I think it was pretty. It had to end in a beatdown of some sort, and but yeah, Finn is amazing. He deserves better, though, in my mind, in terms of stories. He's so over.
He's very over. Yeah.
But he also ended up going over the announce table. Thanks to Punishment Martinez.
I love a good razor's edge.
Yeah, it works for him. He's a big dude too.
I loved when Roman did it. When Roman used to do it, loved it. All right. So what do we have next?
I mean, there's
from
stuff
one mid-card title change to another one.
I don't know. Oh, wait, are we
What
talking about
on
Raw
God's
still?
green
I don't
earth? No, like we have to move over to SmackDown because
know. Oh gosh.
why is Ricochet the new Intercontinental Champion? Like I am.
Because Johnny Knoxville's going to beat Sami Zayn, and they don't want Johnny Knoxville. They don't want Sami Zayn to be the Intercontinental Champion when he loses.
That makes sense. Yeah, I did realize that by the end of the night.
I got excited.
Take it off of Nakamura. Like,
I got excited for a minute when I was like, "Ooh, could we get like you know, Ricochet like helming the the WrestleMania ladder match for the Intercontinental title could be fun." I just don't know who there is, but yeah,
that's what I want. Like, if you're gonna do this far down the rabbit hole, and you have no significant build for your mid-card title, hang that hoe up and have people trying to get at it. Like, honestly, like,
well, they got Shinsuke,
really.
Sheamus, who's also
maybe
Kofi,
Boogs.
Big E is not doing anything yet, right? Mustafa Ali, is he setting out his contract? What's happening?
He's not wrestling. I don't think we're ever going to see him wrestle in WWE again. If they know what's good for them, just don't put him in the ring because they let him go. Free Ali. Oh my gosh. But yeah, I like your sentiment, Mari. Hang it up. In other words. But yeah, like you summed it up perfectly. They realized they had a mid-card division, and then they realized they had to start making some moves toward Mania. And you know, Good for them.
Listen, I am intrigued by what Johnny Knoxville versus Sami Zayn looks like.
Yeah,
Are
I'm
you?
actually excited about that. It looks like it
What?
looks very fun. Like truly it does. It looks very fun.
Knoxville's
like,
gonna take it's gonna fall off something big, right? Like that's
I want them to
can't
do a
make-
death
no.
match or something like that. They need to
I
do
just-
like a street match or something. That'd be so cool. Johnny Knoxville just getting beamed in the nads with a kendo stick. You know that's what it's
Yeah.
gonna be.
or
You
like
know
a
that's what it's
baseball
gonna
bat or something. Keep it. But here's the thing:
be. A jackass match.
They
Yeah.
can't do. But they can't like. There's only so much they could do because they have to make sure he doesn't get hurt.
No-
Like
no,
Johnny
well,
Knoxville would be.
Do you know
safer
who Johnny
doing this.
Knoxville is?
I was about to say
No, but
Matt,
I
at
know,
this
but-
point,
No, I know, but like I like WWE can't put him in a situation to take a big unsafe or riskier
but
bump.
They just
So
put
he's
some
gonna fall into a crash
pads.
pad,
Yeah,
a
well,
massive
yeah,
crash
yeah.
pad.
Yeah.
We want
Yes.
that.
and
we want a
Sami
crash
is
pad.
like the perfect safe worker to do that with.
Yeah.
Like a safe worker who knows their way around like a street style match. This is like I hope they do it. Like it has to be leading towards that, right? Like
I could
Not-
also
not
see
just a
Sammy
regular
being the one
one-on-one.
to take the big bump, right?
Oh,
So Johnny
yeah,
Knoxville will take all
100%.
the like, gets hit with a kendo stick. We'll do all that sort of stuff, but then like
Mhm.
they'll set up the big fall. And it's actually Sammy
Yeah.
who takes it,
Yeah.
and then
I
maybe Johnny
I could
Knoxville
see
jumps
that.
on him or something. Yeah,
this would be
Yeah.
so cool.
Yeah.
But again, why did we take the IC title off of Nakamura to put it on
Yeah, I don't know.
Sammy for a few weeks for then
When did
Ricochet
not?
to
Yeah,
was
when
like-
did that happen?
he was last
on a-
week he was
yeah, he was good.
celebrating his win.
Yeah.
So it was
Yeah.
literally the week before. So it was 2 weeks ago.
again, it's like the issue of like, is the belt a prop or is it like this prestigious thing, right? And sometimes WWE
Mhm.
decides like, oh, the storyline here will be like Sammy will win the title, and then Johnny Knoxville can screw him out of
Screw him out of
having
it.
the title, and the belt just gets passed around as a prop,
So
which I
that-
think people have a problem with. But
Yeah, I did.
WWE's
Just
going
like
to WWE, you know.
Sammy being like, this is the conspiracy. So it's
Right.
just,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but again, Ricochet, who like no disrespect to Prince Puma, but it's just kind of like
Wow.
I swear he just came back on TV 4 weeks ago, if that. So I'll be
What if-
interested to see where he goes from here.
The only reason I'm not surprised about this, I can't remember if it was a Fightful story or what, but let me just give credit to Fightful. Who knows?
Sure.
There was something about some dirt sheet story, take it for what you will, of Ricochet being listed as the number two like singles baby face currently on
SmackDown?
SmackDown, with like, obviously like the New Day and Big E being considered as a group. This is the story that Ricochet is up there, which kind of makes sense when you see him winning the championship here.
Mhm.
But it is
Who's
random.
number one? I guess that is true. If I can't think
Roman
of
or
who's the
Brock, or whoever you.
Oh yeah,
Brock, right?
babyface.
no
maybe Brock.
number one babyface because it's not Roman's not.
Well, maybe Brock.
Well,
maybe
Brock, I
uh,
guess.
I mean, I don't know who would be.
Brock
Who else?
on
But that
SmackDown.
is kind of sad.
Drew.
Drew.
McIntyre.
Oh yeah,
Drew. Oh,
Yeah, and
Jesus.
they did mention that Drew's the number
Sorry.
one
Ugh.
babyface in there. Again, I have no clue if that was Fightful or not. So if it was Fightful, I trust it. If it's not, take it for what you will.
Do you know what? Though?
Yeah.
This is gonna sound really sick, but like when Sami Zayn goes to like knock Johnny Knoxville off, and he turns around and he gets hit into the Hurricane Rana by
Oh, that was beautiful.
It's
Ricochet.
beautiful. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Ricochet's so freaking good
He's
at
really
wrestling.
good.
And
But
Sami Zayn
that-
too. So
Yeah,
it's like
it was-
I'm fine if he's gonna be. I feel like SmackDown has
Mm.
tried this a bit of like I get my hopes up a bit of like it's gonna be like the work rate title on SmackDown, but like boy, if they do that with Ricochet, I'll be very happy. So
Yeah, exactly. So I'm just being a pessimist right now because it doesn't. Especially following the Raw title
Yeah.
switching hands,
Yeah.
it just doesn't feel as authentic. But I am
that
intrigued. Like,
finish.
please, just like a ladder match. I would love a ladder match. But I know I don't have. I don't think I have this on the outline, but. You guys did bring up I know you guys did bring up the New Day again. At this point I'm kind of wondering if the tag belts are going to be fought over a ladder because the Usos just seem to kind of be just spraying at will, like they want all of the smoke. messing with the Viking. They had a match against the Viking Raiders later that night where they beat them, and the championship was on the line. So again, I'm kind of like, okay, then what's happening here? They, for no inexplicable reason, Rick Boogs comes out for the first time in a while with the guitar. I noticed it. I was like, give me my Rick Boogs guitar. This is the first time in a minute. He did the Shinsuke Nakamura entrance, and then they came and beat up Shinsuke and Rick Boogs for no reason, just so Roman can come out. I don't know why did you have to beat up Shinsuke and Rick Boogs here?
Why not?
While we're also simultaneously building up Sheamus and Ridge Holland to go against the New Day, because they attacked Big E's ATV and stuff like that. So I'm like, there's kind of a lot of tag team stuff going on SmackDown in a sense. So I wonder if all of that will kind of merge together for a multi-man match or something like that. But right now it just doesn't make sense for me for the Usos. Just they're like, we're coming for everybody, I guess.
It is
right?
It is kind of wild how they, like, in what year was it last year? 2021. In 2021, how 80 people were released, and yet, like, we're still looking at 80. Okay, but you need to figure out how to use the people that you have.
You
like
still have, wow.
Yeah. They have a huge roster still. I mean, that's kind of the way it is. So I'm actually, total side note, I'm glad that people have that they've stayed employed the last several months. Like, it's good that we haven't had a wave of releases in a little while. I mean, especially during the show.
They could do Usos versus the New Day, but doesn't it feel like it's been done so many times?
It does. That's what we were talking about last week. I'll never be over it once they're in the ring. You know what I'm saying? Like, once I'm watching it, I'm gonna be sucked in. But to get me
I've
excited,
kind of been over it.
To get me excited getting into it, probably not. Yeah.
And even with the match, I'm like, what else could they do? What's new? I mean,
the funny thing is they have done it. Like, they have always built on themselves, I feel like.
Well, I think that they can too, but I'm just, like, not excited by that match anymore. Maybe because it's always the same dynamic. Like, maybe if New Day were the heels again.
I agree.
You know, it's been a while.
Like,
and then
I was never, I was never one of those people who was like, I felt like people would always just inexplicably say, oh, the New Day needs to be heels. Like, they would always say that, and with no rhyme or reason. Doesn't matter what they were doing at the time. They just always said they need to be heel. I never thought that. I do think it now. I think that this would be the perfect time to turn them heel. But that's me not even thinking about what the roster stack looks like, because if you have too many heels, then that doesn't help. But I think it's a perfect time because they could run with the whole, if they wanted to, they could run with the whole Big E, not getting his push correctly. And if they wanted to, if Kofi comes back, they could do the dominant heel faction type thing again. But then it's like, how many of those do you want running around? Because what's going to happen to the bloodline after this Roman and Brock situation, So and then if we're getting Seth and KO baby faces, do we move New Day back over to Raw, all of them over to Raw, and have them feud with them? You know what I'm saying? So there's so many things you can do, but I think this might actually be the time where it would make sense in their character developments to be heels. Now, where does that fit on the roster? I don't know. I don't know what that would really look like. And the New Day constantly talk about on their podcast how they actually really like being heels. Like, they they truly love it, because they just I love that podcast, because Kofi says his favorite thing is like finding like a little kid in the audience and then berating them.
That's hilarious.
Unacceptable. Not cool. No, they deserve everything they want in wrestling. Just give it to them. Give them anything. Give them the heel life if they want it. Face life, all of the championships. They're oh gosh. I mean, there's so much like that they could be doing with New Day. So that's a whole other conversation of like possibilities, because literally it's limitless. Xavier is still king, which I had to just remind myself of. So
big old crown. I don't know. I just wonder how. I mean, they can do it, and they'll surprise me when they do it. I just wonder how. Like, I feel like even as bad guys, they would be entertaining, and so like, will the crowd actually boo them? But I would trust that they would be able to like figure out how to make people boo them. So yeah,
I think the crowd
Exactly.
would do whatever. I think it's a situation where people just want to support New Day. So I think they'd get booed if they're trying. Maybe it's a goofy heel type of thing.
yeah, because I feel like they go too serious. Like they could, if they drop all the merch, like the colors and stuff. That's not really what WWE like.
No.
They still will have merch, right? Like Roman is a bad guy and still has like, head of the table merch. So I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and that's the one thing why I've never wanted to call for New Day to be heels, because the people who call for New Day to be heels also call for them to stop being goofy. And I'm
Right.
like, no, that they were at their peak when they were those goofy heels, like right when they took the titles off the primetime players and they were having that Michael Cole interview and they're like passing the championships around like in such an obnoxious, goofy way. Like, and that's whenever they talk about on their podcast, that's what Kofi means by being like that goofy, obnoxious type of heel. So that's why I don't want them to be Nation of Domination heels.
Yeah.
Style. They have to continue to be themselves and be
Lest we
weird
forget
and
that
goofy
it
and all
was
that.
New Day sucks was how that chant started.
Exactly.
People hated
Exactly.
them. Yeah.
Which it's a good place to start, like good to start low, and then you can only go up from there.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So after the New Day, let's talk about the women. So it was announced on Raw that Naomi and Sasha would get their match against Carmella and Zelina at WrestleMania, which was like, okay, like it was like, all right, they just kind of asked for it. Sure, okay. They were giving it. Okay, great.
Yeah.
Now we have 5 weeks to figure out what we want to do. And then so we get Naomi versus Carmella on SmackDown, and it was I had to remind myself that Carmella has not wrestled in a while. Carmella
Really?
has not been in the ring and actively wrestled for a few months. Go back and check the tape. Go back and check the tape.
No.
Yes. I think
What?
because they weren't at the Saudi show, right? Her and Zelina weren't at the Saudi show.
I think Grace is pulling up the stats on this
Her
one.
last match was on January 31st.
Was that the Rumble?
No, right after the Rumble. The 2 days after the Rumble, Bianca Belair defeats Carmella. Yeah.
Yes. And
Yeah.
that was that like a 2-minute match or something like that. Like which so the match itself wasn't that great. It was really short. But the biggest thing is it just got over that, Naomi and Sasha are now teaming. There's some Sasha and Zelina stuff on and hugging and looking all cool. They got matching wigs. I love it here. Like
the little beads in their hair.
Yeah.
The bobos, some of us will call them the borettes. Well, whatever you call them, but they
okay.
That's a thing.
Learning something new.
Yep. And so it was very, very, very cute. We're getting Sasha versus Zelina next week, which should be a really good match.
Yeah, should be good.
Yeah, that should be pretty cool.
It is pretty awesome that Zelina's gotten as much ring time as she has since returning in June, early July last year. Like that's really awesome. Especially
she's gotten more
with what we saw before, more than she ever had. Easily.
We also had Natalya like watching on the monitor, right?
Right. I was like,
what's happening? What's going on?
Natalya
just
posing
likes
in
women's
front
wrestling.
of the monitor.
It's so funny how
this is the comfortable way to watch TV.
I love when Big E spoofs watching the TV. From
Big E is like all the way. He's like behind
it.
Basically.
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah.
No, it is like honestly, we should. I'm sure I've said it before, but we should really podcast like that. I don't know how that would work out, but we basically wouldn't be on screen. So.
At all. Yeah. So I was like, why is Natalya watching this match? What is happening? Who is she even team with?
No.
They said she was scouting the women of WWE.
Yeah. Okay, but like to push back, like why wouldn't Natalya be watching the match? Like, why is this strange? Does she
I
not
mean-
like women's wrestling?
That's true. Yeah.
Like, she's
But
not-
why are we being made aware that Natalya is awkwardly watching the match?
That's the question.
So it does seem like unfortunately, like I kind of just want it to be a straight up tag team match, but it does feel like perhaps they're going to do another multi match. I don't know who does Natalya. Xia Li, maybe Shotzi is there.
That's
No,
who
not
she's.
Xia. She can't
Xia Li is
team
who
with
she's.
Xia.
Oh, yeah.
she's feuding with.
Right.
Or Aaliyah.
And that's what I'm
Aaliyah
saying. Like
and
we
Xia,
don't even know who
maybe.
the SmackDown Women's roster truly is. I feel like they think it's only Charlotte and Ronda at this point. So like,
That's
maybe
basically it. I basically didn't mention Sonya Deville, and that's basically the whole. That's the whole
Yeah.
women's roster.
it's basically coming
Shayna.
back. Ooh,
Shayna.
Shayna. Where is Shayna?
No,
Oh,
Shayna's the
so
problem is though,
annoying.
Shayna's not truly missing. Like she was there at the Rumble,
Yeah, she
Yes.
was.
and I mean,
Third.
Came out number
like, I
30,
feel like-
right?
Yeah, 30.
Yeah, number
Yeah.
30. I don't
They
know.
like
We'll
her.
see
I
if
don't
they
know.
do. I mean, hopefully they like her.
She was involved in the Naomi Sonya Deville stuff, which I thought was really good at the beginning
Did they
of the
do
year.
anything with? They didn't do anything with. They haven't done anything with Shayna and Ronda yet.
No.
Like even
Yeah,
in terms,
and I
like,
think
other
that-
than
yeah.
the Rumble, where I think they were kind of teaming up.
They were kind of teaming up. Yes. Who eliminated Shayna from the Rumble? Was
probably
it Bianca?
Charlotte. Charlotte eliminated so many people,
Oh, could have been Charlotte. Yeah,
but I
yeah,
don't
yeah.
know. That's my guess. It could have been
That's
Bianca
probably
too.
the great guess. Yeah.
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 Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah.
It was Charlotte. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was
Charlotte
Charlotte.
eliminated like 5 people in that at the end of the match choices
Very quickly. I remember. Yeah.
very quickly.
Yeah. She eliminated Rhea, which anyways, I was like, free my sister from this yoke. She will never get the one up on Charlotte. Like, I don't understand why they won't let this girl beat Charlotte at something. But anyways, yeah. So, but again, the good thing is we're getting Naomi, we're getting Sasha, we're getting these belts. We had Queen Zelina and Carmella do a little promo too,
Yeah.
and Zelina had her accent in the first half. It was
Love it.
not there in that
Lost
second
in the
half.
second half. Yeah.
But it right. But the funniest thing, I was like, oh my god, I have like the dirtiest mind because like
Oh.
Zelina was like, Zelina set Carmella up and said, oh, this is gonna be the best night of the year, and then Carmella was like, oh, what, my wedding night? And then Zelina was like, no. And then Carmella said something like,
Oh no.
she's like, just like, I think she said, just like my wedding night, I'm gonna be the only one to glow, or something to that effect. And I was like, wait, what? Like,
All right.
I mean, good for you.
Yeah.
no, I did not think
We
that
didn't-
was what she said. I did not.
I didn't need the information, any information. I see where you're coming from, Mari.
Yes, I really was like, wait, that doesn't even make sense in the context of what we're talking about right now. Like, what is happening? I straight up looked at my husband.
We got
and he-
confused. I think you were picking up what she was putting down.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was just awkward because, of course, as a reminder, if Carmella and Zelina win, we're getting a live sex celebration or something like that, right?
Oh.
I think that's what they said like a few weeks ago or something. Grace,
What?
does that ring a bell?
That sounds familiar. Yeah.
Something
Mm.
like that.
Yeah.
I've pushed it out of my mind. They of course have been trying to.
What did they actually say?
promote? They've had
Their
something
TV
about-
show, right?
Yeah, they've been trying
Oh,
to promote the
the
Corey and
Corey thing.
Carmella TV show that dropped on YouTube this week.
YouTube show. Let's
Yeah, the
Um,
YouTube show. Yeah.
let's
Lita is somebody
Not
who I could see popping back up before Rose. It feels like they could, she had the match at Elimination Chamber, but could see her doing something at WrestleMania.
Mm-hmm.
who even knows anymore?
Exactly that. Yeah. So I don't know. I just want Sasha and Naomi to win.
Yeah, I just want them to
Hopefully
be have the tag team
break the
titles by
streak.
the end of
Yeah.
WrestleMania
See
weekend.
what
yeah.
happens. I also like what if Natalya is scouting out the division or whatever, and what if Bayley comes back? Like, what if this is just all an
Oh.
elaborate ruse
Ooh.
for Bayley to come back
When is she expected
we
back?
think they're on. Well, that as far as I keep hearing that she's healthy or something. Why are you shaking your head, Matt? I didn't even tell you what my elaborate plan is. That
Sure, I
WWE
know. I
supposed
just
to
don't
even-
like it. What's your elaborate plan?
You did. What if Bailey comes back, teams with Natalya, they turn into a multi-person match, and then just like halfway through the match, like we get like Sasha and Bailey end up tagging again together, and
What?
they like somehow think that they won the belts together, and then we get the heel golden role models again, and then Naomi feels like, why Sasha, why? And then Cameron comes back, and it's Naomi and Cameron versus the golden
my
role
gosh.
models for long-term storytelling. Like that would be
Truly fantasy booking. This is
Truly.
like
Yeah,
fantasy. So
I
yeah.
don't know how. Like that was a long way around. Like from the Nat, because I don't know why Natalia needs to be involved.
The other person.
I don't know either. They showed her standing in front of the monitor.
So I did see. I saw. So Bailey apparently, like, when she was injured, it seemed like the time frame would put her back. She could return for WrestleMania. So that makes sense. The other person who could come back is Asuka. Is apparently fully ready to return, and they're just waiting for the right moment. So
I just saw something else. Again, look, I need to pull up my stories when I'm going to reference them.
It's from Fightful.
Yeah, Asuka's. Yeah, let's say from Fightful. I'll just give Fightful credit for everything. Go subscribe to Fightful Select and all that business. But anyway, yeah, I think they thought Asuka was right, and she's not ready from what they said.
Oh,
So I don't
really?
think Asuka's coming back.
Nobody's ready for
Yeah.
Asuka.
Nobody.
Is that the line?
Asuka's not ready for Asuka. Apparently.
Asuka's not ready for.
Yeah, but
Okay,
like I
alright.
don't know. I don't know if I need I don't know if I need what's her face Bailey to come back before
Bailey.
Mania.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't either. I truly don't either, but I just want her back. And I love the Sasha and Naomi team, but it's almost again, it's also like KO too. It's like
Right. I don't trust you.
yeah, I know. Like, is Sasha gonna turn out Naomi? Like,
Yeah.
you know.
I feel
Yeah, and I am I'm just a big Golden Role Models fan, so that's what I'm kind of looking forward to.
Yeah. So
do we have like a picture? We have another picture of Queen Zelina or Carmella or anything like that?
honestly, this is I just have the picture of Sasha and Naomi hugging, which is kind of like the peak situation here. But yeah, you know what? Look, I feel like kind of overwhelmed this week in talking about like all of the possibilities because we have gotten so little in terms of what's actually
happening.
So.
Yeah. So either way, they just look so they also just look so like joyous together. I love that. I love that for us. I love that for them.
Setting you up to be
I know,
in the back, Mari. Yeah.
Naomi's gonna get her ass kicked. Like Sasha's about to beat her down.
I mean, a
every
Sasha
which
Naomi,
way.
like a long-term Sasha Naomi feud would be fun.
It would be. It would be because they never got their chance after Team Bad broke up.
I mean, that would be fun, wouldn't it? Vince McMahon is listening.
And then we have to really think about like after Charlotte and Ronda square up, which God, look at me in these tangents. But after Ronda and Charlotte square up, what happens then? Because I'm assuming personally that Ronda's gonna win here, right?
Yes.
So then who is she fighting? Keep my sister Sasha in the tag division,
Naomi.
please. Because like don't.
I think that she will do like she's doing this before a lot where just kind of like wrestler of the month,
Yeah. She was doing wrestler of the month for a while.
You know what? I want that for not wrestler of the month necessarily, but I do want Ronda to take the championship.
The unfortunate thing
could be a good match after.
Yeah, that would be fun. I could see that.
I don't know if it's likely.
The thing that was like frustrating, I think, about the Ronda stuff is that they like booked her the same way, similar to like when Brock was tough for a bit. We're like, remember the Ruby Riott match where we're like, okay, it's Ruby Riott's gonna get a title match at a pay-per-view. How fun. And the match was like 2 minutes and she like gets locked in an armbar and that's it. Like I hope, give me more than that.
Then the next night they had an actual match.
know,
Do you
I
remember
know.
that? Oh
Yeah,
my
I
god.
forgot.
It
Yeah.
was like
Yeah.
pretty good too. Ugh,
So
annoying.
stupid. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well.
So so good on Sasha and Naomi. Next week
Yeah.
we're getting Sasha and Zelina. Again, I didn't want to include this, but it's kind of up our alley here. Ronda went against Sonya Deville. That match, they still were ringing the bell at 9:51. I'm like, there's no point in me watching this match. I know exactly what's going to happen. It was all of 2 seconds.
Yeah.
I think Charlotte even walked out at 9:52. Like this
Right.
match is nothing's going to happen.
Yeah.
But the bigger thing of it all is, again, does Charlotte and Ronda are being painted as Ronda wants to be the first person to make Charlotte tap out. If you don't get that bull crap out of here, I was so incredibly upset. Like, please, WWE, I am not stupid. Do not treat me like I'm stupid. We all know that Charlotte has tapped out before. All you have to say is, I want to be the first person to make Charlotte tap at WrestleMania. 2 more words there.
No,
maybe Ronda forgot her line.
Yeah, that's likely. That's highly likely.
Nope. She
forgot.
go
Ronda
to
forgot her word.
WWE. Go to WWE's Twitter. They said it too, and I'm like, y'all are tripping. Y'all are bugging right now.
I think that there's no way they're gonna stick with that because it's not true.
No, they will stick with. No, they like to rewrite history all the time. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
I mean, this is Mark, this is like the history of wrestling, right? Like Andre the Giant has never been body slammed and he's never lost a match ever. Like,
I mean, he hasn't.
yeah, you know,
even
to this day, he has not been body slammed. Yeah,
yeah.
You know,
but it's
just
so stupid to me, though.
Built off a con, you know. It's from the carnival days, you know.
Yeah, we're watching pro wrestling, Mari. What do you think we're watching? Come on.
No, I get the frustration, but I don't know.
I'm with you on that. But I don't know. I just don't understand because like in today's day and age, they really can't get away with stuff like that as often as they used to.
Gotcha.
But they kind of can, right? They just can, right? They could just do it.
I mean,
right?
they could do whatever they want,
Right?
which is the other side of things, right? I don't know if they get away with it, but they just keep doing what they're doing. And
they're gonna make so much money. Like,
I'm so mad right
how do
now.
they keep getting away with it? Yeah.
Especially since like I don't give Charlotte credit for a lot of things. We know this.
Oh, wait a minute.
The one thing that I will give Charlotte credit for is the way she taps out to the bank statement. I don't know if I said it on here before, but I think she is one of the main people who sells the bank statement very well. She might not sell a lot of stuff, but she does sell the bank statement, and the way she taps to the bank statement has always been amazing. So like just rewriting history to get
every
single time. Even when it's not even like, even when she hasn't even tapped yet, I really do like how she sells the bank statement. But so rewriting history so Sasha's out of it, that's annoying. But then like Becky Lynch is right there too. Like Becky has made Sasha tap before. Like what? I'm so confused.
Yeah, but like, is it above? Yeah, they need to call it out. I mean, because it would be great if Charlotte just lied and they acknowledged that she was lying and she just committed to the bit.
I just don't see why make up a stat when you have a stat. You know what I'm saying? Like
maybe
Charlotte has never lost in a WrestleMania one-on-one situation, right? Like
I just want to give them the benefit of the doubt and say that somehow they actually believe that Charlotte never tapped out.
There's no.
I don't know.
Vince's like, I would have never made her.
Like, I was just hired last week.
Yeah, Charlotte wasn't at WrestleMania last year, right? Yeah. So like, it's like as far as I know, Charlotte has never lost in a one-on-one like situation, and her only loss at WrestleMania right now is still just the Becky Ronda and her of it all. When she's never been pinned. She's never been pinned at WrestleMania. She's never been submitted at WrestleMania. Why don't we just say that? Like, why? It's right there. You're already saying half the sentence. Just add.
Mari.
Well, yep.
That's wrestling.
That's perfect for that. And so yeah, so that's basically all we have from SmackDown this week.
Mhm.
The only thing I kind of just want to quickly just lightly tap is that Carmelo Hayes went against Pete Dunne for a North American Championship match on NXT 2.0, and it just fits
Mhm.
with the theme of the mid-card champions, because I mean Carmelo Hayes, this run with the North American Championship is just absolutely phenomenal. Like, he truly is putting on like banger after banger matches. Of course, with Pete Dunne, I mean, I
Of
feel like that
course.
doesn't need to
Yeah.
be said, that the both of them are really good workers here. And while Braun Breaker is in tag matches right now, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, when
Yeah.
Carmelo is saying that he wants to be the A champion, he truly is not messing around when he says that. And I think he already said that. I think he already announced that he will be defending his North American
In a
championship
ladder
in the ladder
match.
match. So
Woohoo.
if he gets the ladder match there, then maybe WrestleMania won't get a ladder
They
match.
could
Yeah,
do
that's
whatever they
true.
want. They could have, I mean, it's not again, like, I'm sure that we've seen them do a stipulation on the what was probably then takeover, and then same stipulation on the actual pay-per-view card. They could do whatever they want.
Yeah, that's
They
true.
should. It is, you know what? I really do miss the WrestleMania ladder matches. Like, it
I
was
do
fun when we
too.
had Money in
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
Bank.
same.
Yeah,
Aw.
it truly made it feel like very special. Like,
It
it you know, and I blame the people who would always complain, like, you know, it was used to get as many people on the card as possible. I was okay with that. I was
Yeah.
perfectly fine with it. And most people were like, "Oh no, but you got to get on the match. You got to deserve it. Like, you shouldn't just be putting everybody on it." And then instead of getting like a really nice, well laid out ladder match, we then got the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, where then they literally just put everybody
Yeah.
on the
Yeah.
on the card. And
I
it
mean,
means
it's good that people
nothing.
are booked, you know, at a minimum. That's good. You know, actually, and you know, it would be nice if they had a battle royal just for everyone else to have something to do and get
They need
paid.
something.
Actually, you
They
know what?
need
I don't even know
something.
if they get paydays anymore for the pay-per-views. I
For the
don't think they
pay-per-views.
do. I don't
Well,
know.
it's still gate money. They
Yeah, I
still
don't know.
have gate money or something like
Well,
that, I
I don't
think.
even know anymore if that's a thing.
Hmm.
Still a thing.
Still a thing. Well,
Who knows?
either way, um, they need to do something, because at this point, I guess I would much rather watch a battle royal than Drew McIntyre versus Happy Corbin. Like, that is just not I feel bad saying it, but it's not a big match to me, even though they're trying to make it a big match. It doesn't feel a big match. Even though Drew is
Yeah.
insanely over, Corbin
Yeah.
being his challenger just doesn't feel at the same level here.
They're trying something there. But
Yeah.
it's just like Drew also hasn't had momentum, like in a Finn sort of way.
But
You know, because
that's the funny thing.
in
He hasn't
and
had
out,
momentum, but he's
in and
still
out.
over with the crowd. The
Yeah.
crowd
Sure.
loves him.
Feels like he's in a
Yeah.
holding pattern until post WrestleMania. But
Yeah,
Right.
and then I
Until
thought,
they
I mean,
decide what happens with Brock and Roman, right?
yeah.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. I think it's weird. I mean, because it seemed like he did have some time off, and then he was back at the Rumble, and then we've seen him since then. So I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
All
same.
right. So
I wonder
let's
if this is it for like I feel like a run through to Stand and Deliver, and then if Pete Dunne finally makes it the main roster, I would very much like
I
that.
would really like Pete Dunne on the main
Yeah.
roster. Yeah.
I just feel like they've never really like he's never really been in a position to like make the win the title in NXT, but I feel like at some point you just move him up, right?
I think so.
He's so good.
Yeah.
He is so
He is.
good. And you know what? I think that I just love that. I don't know. I was looking at this match and looking at Carmelo and kind of wondering, like, he's so good, but obviously he still has to like sharpen things up in some ways, but it's hard to kind of see where he has to grow. And so I like that he's able to work. I mean, I probably said this a few weeks ago. I like when anyone's able to work with Pete Dunne, just to kind of sharpen up on things. Will we actually get him on the main roster? Who knows? But good for Carmelo. This was a strong match, strong showing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So let's just take a quick break and then we'll go into some AEW. All All right. So, big announcement aside. AEW is having their Revolution pay-per-view this weekend. It'll probably be happening right around the time this comes out or something to that effect. So we're not going to do like a big old preview podcast, but what matches are we looking forward to? Grace, I always love putting you on the spot. You're our AEW correspondent. What
That's
matches
right.
are you looking forward to for this pay-per-view?
CM Punk versus MJF.
I mean, yeah.
Boy,
But
yes.
what is a dog collar match? Like, what is that?
They're
I don't
just it's
understand.
just they're just gonna it's tied around their neck, the
And they're
thing, and then they're like
together.
chained
So
together. Yeah.
okay, it's just like a strap match then, but just
A
with the neck.
yeah, but with a chain, yeah.
Or like
But like I don't know if you watched this week, like MJF
saw a
after
little
last
bit.
week has the
Yeah.
like the promo of
Yeah.
Lifetime, I would say,
Uh-huh.
and then this week
Yeah.
CM Punk comes out and it's just like, listen, I was a bad dude. Again, I was a little like talking about all your WWE stuff, but whatever. He's like, I did some bad stuff. I was a bad guy and look like I'm, and MJF like comes out and like pretends to hug him, then he kicks him. But then like, boy, CM Punk bleeds buckets here, and like part of me is like, ooh, save that for the pay-per-view, like, but like it is this like the image of like CM Punk being like the dog collar over the top rope, Sean Spears holding it, MJF like yelling in his face is like, gosh, it's really good stuff. It's like, and I felt like this feud has gone on a little while. They've been in sort of like
it's been a
they've
minute.
clearly been saving it for like a pay-per-view rather than one of their like TV specials. So it's felt rather drawn out. But I do think the thing is, I think this is the match, and then they will move on to other things. I mean, they've drawn stuff out before. Certainly the Pinnacle versus the Inner Circle went on for a very long time. But yeah. So I'm very excited for that match.
Yeah. And it still seems like MJF is working heel and
100%.
Oh, totally.
Yeah. So I mean, no, I'm just saying, because last week we were doing a lot of speculating on that.
Yeah, and I think we kind of like, I don't know. I'm just glad that he's still a heel. It is something that we haven't probably talked about here maybe at all is the fact that when WWE has their specials, or even when they've had quote unquote pay-per-views in recent years, like with the network and now with Peacock, you're not spending $50 to watch the show. And with AEW, you have to spend that money. And so I do feel like there has to be, I haven't really thought about this much, but there definitely has to be a different approach to how they build it, how they book it, because with WWE, it's like, well, you're only paying $9.99 per month. So we're going to give you what we give you. Whereas AEW really needs to convince people to spend their $50. It's a commitment. And so I don't know. I'm glad that they kind of gave us this big moment and just bloody CM Punk in the show, like disturbingly bloody. Just because then the question is, what could they do from here? Where could they go from here? So I'm excited about that. But back to your initial question, Mari, of like, what are we looking forward to? I mean, in a weird way, for me, I'm not really looking forward to this match, but I just want to say I've really enjoyed what they're like. I've enjoyed Hook, not even what they're doing with Hook, but I've just enjoyed Hook.
Is the bomb.
He's so good. I remember his debut match. I think my jaw was on the floor watching that, and that was only 3 months ago.
It's everything. It's the I mean, talking about entrance music, his entrance, it's like this like classic music, and then it like kicks into the actual entrance music, and then it's like everything about it. It should not work, but it works. So he's just like, this hair is like messy and cool, and
he needs
these
comb.
Like shorts. He does need a comb. I retweeted a little while ago this thing of like, you look at like Taz is Taz, and it's like this picture of Taz. He's like, look at my beautiful son Hook. Like, look at that. It's like a picture of Hook. I don't know why it works. And yeah, he's like wrestling QT Marshall. Not a match I should be excited about, but I'm excited about Hook. I don't know how he's like, he has the best selling shirt on AEW, and it's just the letters Hook on a white t-shirt. I don't understand.
Yeah, he's
No,
so
yeah.
over. He's
He is
so
so
over.
over.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see where his career goes. But like in terms of matches, yeah, it's a similar thing. I love Jade Cargill. Like there
Yeah.
are
Yeah.
Mhm.
everything they've done with her is great. But yeah, I don't know if there's like a match other than the MJF CM Punk one that I'm most excited for. I mean, maybe Mox
I
and
was about to say, no,
Danielson.
Mox and Daniel
Danielson.
Bryan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But even I'm more
should
excited
be
for
good.
Hook and Jade, to be honest. Like
Big
I'm
little
just that
the
energy
ladder
out.
match coming.
I was just about to say the
Yeah,
ladder match.
yeah.
So, like, Keith Lee,
Mm.
is he taking over here? Ricky Starks.
Wardlow.
Yeah.
Marty's favorite, Powerhouse Hobbs. Everyone's favorite. No?
It feels like a Keith Lee win.
No.
Or, I mean,
Yeah.
could they add a Christian Cage to this match? I think it's hilarious that he's the face of the Revolution. It's Christian Cage, but
Yeah, Christian Cage.
in a
So
way,
yeah, he's
a
officially added, right?
revolution.
He's
Yeah,
like
The
he's officially
American
added.
Revolution. Or maybe the
So-
Canadian
So
Revolution.
there's no mystery.
No mystery. And then I think like I could see this as it's fuel for the Wardlow face turn. I could see him winning because like MJF has been saying like you're hired by me. You're like you do what I want. Like you're nothing without me. So Wardlow then winning the face of the Revolution ladder
Yeah, I
match to
accidentally-
fuel
I
fire
didn't-
there.
I didn't see the bets, but people were talking about the bets on this match, and it's basically kind of like all even. Like a lot of these people could actually win that match. Like Ricky Starks, Keith.
They
Lee,
love Ricky
Wardlow.
Starks. He
Mhm.
commentates on Rampage every week. Like they love that guy. Powerhouse Hobbs. They
Mhm.
seem like Orange Cassidy. Obviously, like would not be surprising for me to see
Yeah,
win. So yeah.
Ricky and Keith kind of had a little thing, like a backstage thing too.
Yeah.
So
I kind of feel like that. It's kind of like that's the reason to like why neither of them will win.
will
To like
win,
take
yeah.
each other out so that they can set up a
Mhm.
story. And I mean, it really does feel like this is like to boost Wardlow's resume so that when he turns on MJF, I to me it feels so much like Batista Triple H, like 2004 or whatever, whenever that happened, 2005.
Yeah.
It feels like that's coming, and I think like I don't know what longevity Wardlow has, but the moment like MJF, I think will have the powers that the Miz had. Where like, remember Alex Riley? Remember how excited we were about Alex Riley for a minute? Like Damian Mizdow, like when you turn on the Miz, when you turn on MJF, it will be a big moment for you. It's just whether they can like capitalize on that.
Yeah, they can,
I mean, the main event should be Adam Page versus Adam Cole. Should be very, very like technically good. I do not think that this is like Adam Cole is being will be crowned champion, but will be very fun. He has sort of an undefeated streak heading into this match. I think Adam Page will break it. I'm not sure where they go with Page after this match. I'm not sure who. I kind of could see the winner of Moxley Danielson being set up as the challenger.
But
yeah, I don't know.
And then
and so sorry.
Yeah,
go ahead,
no, I'm just like I'm even just looking at the card otherwise at like this Britt and Thunder Rosa match, which we haven't even touched on.
Yeah.
Even as big women's wrestling fans, but I'm curious about just what we're thinking about that one.
I think Thunder Rosa needs the win.
Though,
it feels they have a ton of history, right? So they were in the Lights Out match that sort of like Thunder Rosa won. The thing has kind of been similar to what they did with Britt Baker and Riho, and Riho challenged Britt at Battle of the Belts. Was like, there's this person who's like kind of had your number, kind of beat you in like these, like you might have come out of the match with like the bigger, like you were the memorable person on that, but you didn't win that match, So I do. They really like Britt Baker. There's been this thing. I don't know if you like. They've talked about there were originally like the 4 pillars of AEW, which are like the young stars who are the up and comers, which are Jungle Boy, Sammy Guevara, MJF, and I am missing some. Darby Allin.
Darby Allin. Yeah.
Darby Allin. And then when CM Punk was feuding them, like when he earlier in the feud was saying like, "You're not the 4th pillar. Britt Baker is the 4th pillar." So now there's kind of this joke that there are 5 pillars, including Britt Baker. They love Britt Baker. I could see them wanting like her to have a very long run, but I also could feel like Thunder Rosa defeating Britt Baker could be the launching point to really give Thunder Rosa some momentum. She's really popular. She's really great.
Definitely.
So set her up on her on a trajectory, whereas Britt Baker, like she's great and it makes sense that the title's on her. I also don't know how much she needs the title, if that makes sense. So
yeah, that makes sense. And then she's already had it for a minute now, right?
She's had it for a little while. Yeah.
Feels like it's been at least a year, but I don't think it's been that much at all. But
We'll see. Yeah.
yeah, I guess that could go either way.
Yeah,
I
she
like
said
that
it for
they're
almost a year. She won it in May of last year. So.
okay. All right. Okay. I wasn't sure, but it feels like it does feel good that they're kind of teasing that, all of the former Undisputed Era, Paragon, whatever, the Undisputed Originals. I don't know what they're going by,
I don't
but
think they're going by Paradigm. We thought they were going to go by Paradigm. They have not been going by
yeah.
Paradigm.
So
So,
on the AEW YouTube, they're calling them the Undisputed Originals, and it's just
Oh,
like,
okay.
Very
all right,
creative.
well,
Sure.
I don't know. Why
Yeah.
not just Undisputed? Like, it's not.
Yeah.
Can they
No.
trademark that?
No,
Is
they
it
must not
Wait.
be able
vague?
to. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it's
Vague?
weird that just they didn't even need to reference that.
This is true. I agree. They
Yeah.
don't need to reference it at all. But
I'm kind of the match, this triple threat tag team match should be really good. It's Jungle
right,
Boy Luchasaurus defending against Red Dragon and the Young Bucks. Red
right.
Dragon cost the Young Bucks a match and then helped them win the Battle Royal, the Casino Battle Royal this past week. Kind of feels like I feel kind of bad for Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus, and that this match feels like it's all going to be story for the
other two
inevitable
teams.
breakdown
Yeah.
of the elite, this and the super click stuff. So it feels a little like, I kind of want Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus to get their own story at some point, but I do think they retain. I'm not
Oh,
super
okay.
interested in one of those two teams, the other two teams winning, and then it being the story about that. You look at that Casino Battle Royal, there's so many teams in AEW. There's so
There
much
was a lot,
potential
yeah.
for some title feuds that I feel like, I don't know. I really don't want their feud, the Jungle Boy Luchasaurus title reign, to end at the hands of this other storyline. So
Yeah.
we'll see.
And I think that at least from what we've seen with AEW's booking, I think they're smart enough to correct me if I'm wrong, but to not transition championships without there being a reason or benefit. Because the reality is with wrestling booking, you could always book it in a way where it's not, where everyone comes out better in some kind of sense. But
the only
what do you think
thing
about
I would argue that is the Cody TNT title stuff at around the Battle of the Belt stuff, where he beat Samuel Guevara, had beaten Miro, who Miro's not even on this card. The roster is so full right now. Samuel Guevara beat Miro, and then Cody beats Sami, and then at Battle of the Belts he had to drop out, so Sami won the interim. My worry with AEW a little bit is that they do at times feel like they want to placate, rightfully so, to the people who started the company with them, with Tony, right? So this does feel like, can I see the Young Bucks winning the title? Yeah, absolutely, they could win the title here, and I would not be surprised. Yeah. FTR joked, did you see this? FTR joked that if they lost the Casino Battle Royal, they were going to retire. And so then Dax, after the match, someone was like, well, what happens now? He's like, yeah, we're retired. And
Oh my God.
one of Cash Wheeler's real life people had to be like, are you guys retired? Are you guys leaving? Are you unhappy? And he's like, no, it was just a bit. You're just
unretire.
Dax is just totally kayfabe, Yeah.
I'm pretty sure somebody has to know what their contracts are looking like somewhere.
I think they're fine. I think it was all just a bit.
Were they were they considered the originals? No, they weren't. So they should still have a few years left on their contract.
Yeah, they came in a little bit later.
A little bit like a little later, yeah.
They're also still the AAA champions. They're fine.
Yeah. Why are they still the AAA champions?
Because so they can wrestle Mexico. Yeah, the forbidden door, Mari. Yeah.
Why are you gonna hate?
Who's in AAA? If I'm in AAA, I'm pissed because my titles are in the US.
Yeah.
I don't know. Either way. Yeah. So that's good. That's a lot of people. That's a strong.
I know we didn't Matt Hardy is teaming with Andre El Idolo and Isaiah Cassidy, take on Sting, Darby Allin, and Sammy Guevara. Eric Rowan debuted on Rampage last night. He or the other day. It will be joining Penta and Pac to take on the House of Black. So, and that's apparently on the pre-show. Their roster is full to the brim at the moment. So yeah.
Wow. So that should be a good AEW Revolution. Oh, bring it back up, please, Matt. The AEW Revolution pay-per-view. Sunday, March 6th at 8 p.m. pay-per-view.
Yes.
Live
on
so
pay-per-view.
Did they start moving to Sundays again? Because
I
I
think
just
it's
assumed it was
whatever
gonna be
they
on
can
Saturday.
get the arena. I think
Oh, I guess that
probably
makes
is.
sense.
It's not. They don't really care whether it's. They like the Saturday pay per view. I love the Saturday pay per view.
Yeah.
I hate
Yeah,
staying
don't
up
we
late on
all?
Sunday nights. But
Mhm.
I think it's just whatever they can get the stadium. to
Ah,
hold.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense.
Nobody does because the Royal Rumble was on a Saturday this year. I don't know. The whole world.
It does not make it.
Yeah.
People just
It's-
doing whatever they want.
Get in where you fit in.
Don't you know I'm a Virgo and I love consistency? Wrestling executives, come on.
Okay.
on.
Okay. The
Yeah.
Taurus in me is just like,
I mean, yeah, same.
let's get to. All right, that's it for the highlights of the week. All the highlights that we talked about could be found in our playlist in either our show notes or the description. Go follow along or just listen to us talk about them. But this is great
Yeah.
talking about AEW. Thank you so much, Grace, for talking about AEW with us.
Thanks for
But
having me on.
before we go, we want to do rapid fire questions.
That's like the same sound drop. So
I
that's
know. I
great.
mean, honestly,
love your
because
soundboard.
it's the
Great
best ones.
soundboard, Mari.
Yeah, thank you. So Grace, this is where we will just I will just be like lobbing wrestling questions at you. I
Okay.
want you to answer them as quickly as possible. Don't worry, they're not like facts or anything like that. They're
Okay.
your own personal preferences.
Yeah, and they better be
Gotcha.
right. You better be right.
Your opinion better be like everybody else's opinion.
Okay.
All
Informed.
right.
Yes.
Or you're getting
So-
dragged. Buy from Grace. It's more like it.
Oh, no.
Bye. Wow. That's so messed up. I was like, I don't know if I should put like a 2-minute timer or something like this, where I just I'll do my
there's a
own.
clock. There's a clock. Yeah. I'll look at the time.
Yeah, and it's not a like a test or anything. It's just I'm gonna ask you questions. All right.
Okay.
Your opinion.
Ready? Of your opinion, yes.
Which better
Is
not
this
be
just
wrong.
me or Matt? Is Matt playing too?
No, it's just
No.
you. No,
Oh,
we're getting
gosh.
it's a
I'm
way
watching.
it's a way for the wrestling fans to get to know you more.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
Yeah.
So, ready? Who's your favorite male wrestler
Right
of
now?
all time?
Oh,
Time.
Bret the Hitman Hart, baby.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who's your favorite
Oh.
women's wrestler of all time?
Trish Stratus. Canadians.
Okay.
I'm kidding.
Mhm.
Oh, I should. Who was your favorite superstar in the Ruthless Aggression era?
Oh, probably
Rene
Batista.
Dupree. Oh.
Yeah, Rene Dupree, the French tickler. Yeah.
La Resistance.
Yeah, I love Batista. Yeah.
Who's your favorite all-time tag team?
Ooh, maybe the Legion of Doom, probably. Yeah, I love the
Oh,
Legion of Doom.
okay.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
Oh, if you can do this, what was your favorite pay-per-view? Like ever?
Well, WrestleMania 30 certainly is very memorable to me. So I'll go with WrestleMania 30. I think it's probably my most memorable pay-per-view. Yeah.
Mhm.
Team Raw, or Team SmackDown?
Oh.
SmackDown was always like the work rate show, like all the indie wrestlers. So I'll take SmackDown. Yeah.
Okay. Eric Bischoff or Vince McMahon?
I don't want to be on Team Vince McMahon. So I got to say Eric Bischoff. Eric Bischoff does a lot. He invented a lot of stuff that still they do on TV. So I'll give Eric Bischoff some credit. Yeah.
Monday Night Wars, WWE, WCW.
Oh, that's WWE every day. Even though I just said Eric Bischoff, we didn't
What
really get
year is this?
WCW in Canada really that much. It was on another channel. So yeah.
Rock or Stone Cold?
Stone Cold.
Okay.
Yeah.
And finally, who's your favorite horsewoman?
Bailey for sure.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say Marina Shafir.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Stop it.
Marina Shafir.
Oh my God. Thank you so much, Grace,
thank
for
you.
answering our rapid fire questions. Tell the people where they can find you.
Yeah, I'm on Twitter, not Bye From Grace. I'm Hi From Grace. I'm also on twitch.tv/Hi From Grace. I'm doing a lot of stuff over on post-show recaps. Euphoria, Winning Time, show about the Los Angeles Lakers in the 1980s comes out soon. So we'll be covering that. Movie coverage, Raised by Wolves, so many things. And then here on Rob Has a Podcast on this network, we are on a little bit of a hiatus from the sports show that I did, but we'll be back. And I'll tease here for the first time ever that we are tweaking the format a bit. So I'm very excited to return in a few weeks. I think next week, actually, we'll have the first episode of our new formatted show. So look out for that in the reality TV RHAPups feed. Yeah.
Yeah, look at us breaking news and all of that.
Breaking news.
Man.
Yeah.
Matt, where can the people find you?
The people can find me at Matt Scott GW. That's just Matt Scott GW. Don't need to add that whole at before it on the platforms. But you know what? Where can you find me this week? So one is that I actually am guesting on the Brazilian Dragon podcast with Felipe, talking about Harriet the Spy. What a movie. It came out 25 plus years ago, and so we had a lot to dive into. That was like a 2.5-hour podcast, which clearly I'm used to because Wrestling RHAPUp. But also you could find me talking about or talking with the one and only Wendell Holland, winner of Survivor Ghost Island. He was on Survivor Winners at War. He's on HGTV and just kind of going up and glowing up over on Pod Friends. Well, if you love HGTV, you should love Wendell, because hopefully he's going to be on it more and more and more. But had a great conversation for Pod Friends with him. The Pod Friends season finale. And so check that out. That will be up Sunday night, probably around the time of AEW Revolution, in case you just want to do something a little bit different with your time. Check that out. Super fun. And yeah, I mean, you can find me on the Wrestling RHAPUp, but more broadly, Mari mentioned the live show happening for Know-It-Alls, the live Know-It-Alls show on RHAP in May. So you can also find me in person there. But I think that's what I've got. Mari, where could the people find you?
Of course, you can find me on Twitter at Mari Talks Too Much. That's 2, like the number 2. Every week here on the Wrestling RHAPUp with my great friend Matt Scott and wonderful guests like Grace Leeder. And then I am working on a few things with post-show recaps. More to come, and something with RHAP. So hopefully I'll be able to announce next week. And I was just on the Euphoria season finale with Grace this week. So check out Euphoria if you haven't already. They do great coverage over there. I was so happy to be there for the really interesting season finale. But just follow me on Twitter to see what I'll be up to. Other than that, just remember, you can please rate, review, and subscribe to the Wrestling RHAPUp or to the RHAP Reality TV RHAPUp feed. Email us, wrestling@robhasawebsite.com, with any long-form questions. And please follow us on Twitter at Wrestling RHAPUp. Other than that, remember, wrestling is for everyone, but not all wrestling is for everybody. Bye, everyone.
Up, lay it down just like Matt and Mari. Wrestling RHAPUp's gonna make it sorry. Feeling like The Rock, cause I'm driving in Ferraris. And we coming every week and it's feeling like a party. Moolah Ric Flair, showing out like Bianca Belair, Best podcast, flush it in the air, Roman Reigns and we win it, don't care, No cap. Throw 'em up, lay it down just like Matt and Mari. Wrestling RHAPUp's gonna make it sorry. Feeling like The Rock, cause I'm driving in Ferraris. And we coming every week and it's feeling like a party.